Cheese, I keep hearing and people keep asking me, why don't we have some kind of intro at the beginning of the show? And do you know why?
Why is that, sir?
Because I don't want to deprive them of this. That's why. That's why we don't. So, especially you over there on that side, buddy.
Deprive. That's an interesting word. Okay.
That's interesting. Deprive?
You said you don't want to deprive? That's an interesting word to use.
Yes.
No, might use something different.
Okay. All right. So this is Mike Valentine. I am the Cleat Geek over here. You got Cheese on my right-hand side of the screen, as all of you know him from his YouTube channel. Buddy, come on. 10 seconds in. Give me the first plug. What's the channel?
It's at Football with Cheese. Football with Cheese and Cheese. Excuse me. Cheese is CHEEZ. And I just did a video yesterday about the international games, how they're expanding them. And today I did a video on the best storylines for the Super Bowl. I just released that a couple hours ago.
All right, so you did that one. Honestly, I haven't watched that one yet. Now, I did do the Sam Darnold video that you did, like 4 or 5 days ago, where you talked specifically about him. For those of you who have not gone over to Football with Cheese and seen that video, that's really interesting as far as where he came from, what he did kind of in between, and where he is now. So one of those impromptu rises to a Super Bowl quarterback, right?
It's really an incredible story. He had never won a playoff game before this year. He bounced around the league. He'd been on his 5th team, and now he's, one win away from a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's the favorite for MVP.
All right. We will certainly talk about the Super Bowl and all of that stuff tomorrow, right, Cheese? What time are we going to do that, buddy?
Same time, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We're going to do, we'll see how long it lasts, probably 45 minutes to an hour. We're just going to talk Super Bowl, preview predictions, and so it'll be a lot of fun. So, same link. Just, make sure you come check us out tomorrow night.
All right, fantastic. Can't wait to do that show with you specifically on the Super Bowl itself. But tonight, we're going to do some stuff. But before we do it, we've got to give you the walk-up music.
Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh man, the comments are already coming in hot and heavy. Now I haven't read them yet, so I don't know what's going on over here, but they are cranking up, buddy. All right, we're gonna do lots of stuff today. We're gonna do a little bit more of a focus on.
The music's really loud.
Oh, I put the music down, didn't I?
Okay, there you go.
Yes, I forgot to turn the music down. I was just going right along, man. Sorry about that, guys. But yes, we're going to do a little bit more of a focus on MLB and NFL today. No college. There's not a whole lot going on there right at the moment. We're not going to do a flaming 5 and 5. I know you guys are disappointed, but we're going to try to cut this down a little bit today. And we're going to include, of course, all of our fans in the comments. So for those of you who have already done so, we appreciate it. We'll get to you here in just a second. And for those of you, wow. One person's like really, really, really high. High, but you only have to do it once. I swear, I see it. You only have to do it once. All right.
Giannis. So we're not big NBA guys, so I don't really know much about going on with that.
Yeah, not a hello.
We're not NBA guys at all. We're big football, baseball guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, so we won't.
Hello from North Korea. Hello, Jamal. Jeez.
All right.
Well, be safe, man. Hello from North Korea.
So can we talk about the trade for Giannis? No, because I have no idea what it was.
Was he traded?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
Again, as you've already stated, not an NBA person.
No. Not our sport.
Loved
it as a kid. Love watching Jordan.
Yeah, but it's different now, right?
Yeah, it's just not as fun. All everyone does is one pass, shoot a 3.
No, I 100% agree. I was getting ready to say I like a sport that has both offense and defense, and since the NBA doesn't, I'm not interested. So,
if you want to see 3-point contests, yeah, just watch the NBA.
I mean, our Phoenix Suns are even doing really well. They're not really supposed to be, and I'm still not really into it. So
that's not like them.
No, it's not. But we'll do that. So we're going to do MLB, we're going to do NFL, and then we will end the show tonight. Cowboy Reggie saying the Olympics for him. Thank you, Cowboy. We see that, buddy. That'll be our poll question here in just a few moments. You can go over right now, and you can vote on that. That poll question is, you've got a few weeks between the Super Bowl and spring training. What sport are you going to watch the most during that time? And your choices are the Olympics, NBA, hockey, and UFC/WWE. So now go over there, go to our X account, All Gloves Off SM, and you'll be able to vote on it. We've got several people who have already done so, and we're just waiting to add you to the list. All right, Cheese. Let's get rid of that music in the background for a second. Let's go over here. We got a couple more comments here. So,
so the Super Bowl, we are doing a special tomorrow at same time, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and we're just going to break the Super Bowl down. We're doing it separate because it would just take too long. It would probably take 45 minutes to an hour. And this show, we just didn't want it to go 3 hours. So we will do that tomorrow. Just so make sure you check it out. Thoughts
They're
on
very dangerous animals.
Thoughts on the Panthers? Well, they won the division. Now the Panthers, they're going the right direction. They're improving every year. They're going to play a first place schedule, which will be tough, but they got to get better on defense. They got to get some more playmakers on defense for sure for next year.
All right. There you go. You've got it from Cheese. He is one of the biggest draft analysts out there. Does a lot of stuff on his channel for that. And as we get closer and closer, we will do more and more things headed towards the draft. Of course, this is Super Week, as everyone likes to hype it up and call it. So like we said, we will do a special show tomorrow, same time, same place, on just the Super Bowl. But today we are going to focus on MLB, and we're going to focus on a little bit more of the NFL. We'll get you some more stuff here in just a moment. First, we're going to go ahead and do MLB. So what that means, the best music and the best graphics in all of sports. Are you ready for MLB 4-Pitch Talk? All right, Cheese, there it is. Like we say, the best graphic in all of baseball. It is time for MLB 4-Pitch Talk. We're going to talk about the free agents that are still left. Some of the broadcasting stuff going on right at the moment. Cheese was telling me earlier he's not sure if he's following everything, but we're gonna talk about it. Make everybody follow everything. It's actually pretty interesting. We'll kind of wrap everything up. We're going to do some free agent moves and some trades that happened over the week, including Eugenio Suarez, Luis Arraez, Brendan Donovan, and even Jordan Hicks. And then we'll do a couple of other things as well, including the World Baseball Classic and the huge hiccup that's going on with it right at the moment. So we will get to all of that and more here on our 4-Pitch Talk. All right, buddy. So as you know, I'm loving this time of year. I know you do too. You love it for a little bit different reason than I do. You're the football guy. You're excited about the Super Bowl and everything else. I don't know. I'm not really into the Super Bowl a ton right at the moment. I mean,
way to plug tomorrow's show.
Right. It's the Super Bowl, and I'm into it somewhat, but not as much as I have been in recent years. I'm almost ready for the Super Bowl just so I can say, okay, baseball is just around the corner, and here we go.
Are you missing Patrick Mahomes being in it? Is that the problem? You're missing Taylor Swift being shown every 5 minutes. Is that
that's okay. Neither of those two things are the problem. But I can tell you that between our poll question over on All Gloves Off SM is really heating up and really getting close. So it's from 15% to 32% for those choices. If you got a week off or so between the Super Bowl and spring training, what sport are you going to watch the most during that time? The Olympics, NBA, hockey, or UFC/WWE? Cheese and I will tell you about our choices, and then we'll go over what you guys say here in just a couple moments when we do our poll question right here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. Cheese, there are still some free agents out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to talk about them a little bit, right? So there's some hitters on the market. You've got Miguel Andujar. You've got Rhys Hoskins. You've got Nathaniel Lowe. Someone that you know pretty well, Marcell Ozuna, because he was with the Braves the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a guy named Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I had to put that one in there just because I like to say his name, Falefa. So are any of these hitters game changers if a team picks them up here in the next week or so?
No, I don't think so. Well, their biggest problem for most of them is they're just not very versatile position-wise. That's kind of what you're filling out your bench. You want guys that are versatile and play, maybe back up a lot of spots. Ozuna can't play the field. And coming off a horrible year, I could see someone that absolutely needs a DH, maybe giving them an incentive-laden deal, like a minor league deal, but you make it, but it's mostly incentives if you play well.
Mm-hmm.
But so many teams now, they don't have like a full-time DH. They like to rotate players around to give certain guys rest. So if you're a DH only, it's tough to find a job. And I'll mention one more. Andujar, he can't really play against right-hand pitching. So if you have a guy that really sucks against lefties and plays left field, that's what he plays, then he's a good signing because he can really hit lefties. He destroys lefties, but he can't hit righties, so he has to platoon. So just all those players you listed, they have either position limitations or just some kind of limitation that doesn't make it like a really good signing.
Right. Well, you've got somebody like, the guy's name I love to say, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Now, he can play a lot of different spots, but that's what he is. He is he's a platoon guy. He's that guy who you can plug and play, but he's not going to give you a whole lot offensively. So he's limited as well, just in a different way, right?
Yeah.
All right, and that's 100%.
He is. Yes, yeah. He can't hit. When Nathaniel Lowe, if he hits like he did a few years ago, would be versatile. But I think he's a first baseman only. So most people have their first baseman set.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why Rhys Hoskins is still there. Yes, he can hit. Yes, he can probably give you a solid 20 home runs per season. But is he going to be better than the first baseman you've got already? Marcell Ozuna, kind of the same boat. Now, I wouldn't pick up Marcell Ozuna just because of his off the field stuff that we can either talk about a little bit or not. I'll let you decide since he is the ex-Atlanta Brave and you're the Braves guy. But that would be the main reason I wouldn't pick up Ozuna.
I wouldn't pick him up because he sucked last year. And he's look, he has to DH and he's a terrible base runner. He is one of the slowest human beings in baseball. So if he's not hitting, he is completely worthless. And he's a bad dude. He's a bad person. He's done bad things in his life. So let's just leave it at that. I don't want to talk about what he did, but it's bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are all risk reward, right? And you said this earlier. Okay, so I need a guy I've got a guy that I need to come off my bench that mashes left-handed pitching. Okay, then Andujar is probably your guy. Mm-hmm. Pick him up. He shouldn't cost a whole lot of money. Sign into a 1 year, maybe a 1 year with an option or something like that, right? You've got a first baseman, but he's a young kid, and you're not sure exactly what you're going to get from him. Well, then get yourself a Rhys Hoskins to back him up, and if the kid kind of falters or if he gets into a big slump, then you can bring in Rhys Hoskins, and you give the kid a break and stuff like that. Even Nathaniel Lowe can fit in that same kind of thing. If you're a team that's pretty much got your infield set and pretty much got your outfield set, and you're just looking for that platoon guy, that one last guy that you can sign that's going to kind of solidify everything, then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is your guy. But I agree with you. none of these guys are really game changers. They're 24th and 25th guys, right, on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lowe and Hoskins especially, they want a starting role. Like, I'm sure someone would sign him 1 year, $2 million, especially Lowe. He's the left-hand hitter. You know, that's valuable off the bench. But both of them probably still want to start at first base. And there's, like we said, there's just most teams have a better first baseman.
Yeah, there's no real starting spots for any of these guys right now. They would have to take a lesser role, and I didn't think about that until you just mentioned that. I wonder if that's what's keeping some of these guys as free agents still. They're insisting on a starting role, and they don't want to go to a team if they're not going to get regular at bats. That could be a big thing with this. So that's a good thing by you. Good point by you, sir. Well, let's move on.
It happens every once in a while.
It does. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. All right.
But there's a lot more pitching available.
Yes, there is. There is. Thank you for the setup. Let's move on to the pitching. You've got Framber Valdez. You got Zach Gallen out there still. You got Justin Verlander, Chris Bassett, Lucas Giolito. I didn't put him on our list, but you've got Max Scherzer out there. So here was my question to you, and I think this will be an interesting spot for us to talk about here. Can any of these pitchers give a team that signs them 10 or more wins? And those pitchers are Valdez, Gallen, Verlander, Bassett, Giolito, and we're going to throw Scherzer in there as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Framber, for sure. Yes, Gallen pitched well down the stretch. You know, Chris Bassett, I think he has been connected to the Braves. They could use an innings eater. They could use another starter. And it looks like, he makes almost every start every year. He's,
very durable.
Probably a back of the rotation guy at this point. Very durable. He'd be a good fit. Even Zach Littell, someone, if you have especially a really good defense pitcher, like Pitcher's Park, he can give you innings. So, there's a lot more pitching left than bats. I still think the Orioles and maybe the Mets will sign one of these guys. And like I said, the Braves and Chris Bassett might be a good fit. Maybe they're waiting for his price to go down. I heard a rumor that they're interested. There's another rumor the Cubs are in on Gallen. I just don't see it. First of all, if it was, it'd be a 1 year deal. And the Cubs, they would have to lose a draft pick and $500,000 international bonus money. I just don't see them doing it. They already added a draft pick when they lost Kyle Tucker. To then lose that and get nothing for Tucker just doesn't make sense. And once Justin Steele comes back, their rotation's pretty full. So,
well, that's what I was going to ask you, though. I mean, you said once Justin Steele comes back, he's already had Tommy John surgery as a minor leaguer. This year he had the internal brace surgery, which is supposed to be a little less invasive than what the Tommy John is. Are you worried about that? And would you look at Zach Gallen as kind of a fallback guy to be your number one-ish starter?
No, I think they're fine. Once they traded for Edward Cabrera, they still have Jamison Time. They still have Matthew Boyd, who were both terrific last year. They have Shota Imamanga. They have Colin Ray, who filled in as a starter for most of the year. He was terrific. They have Javier Assad. They have guys that can fill in as like back of the rotation guys until Steele's back. I heard that sometime maybe mid to late May is what he's targeting. So I think the only way Zach Gallen ends up a Cub is one of those guys mentioned gets hurt and gets knocked out for the year or something. But otherwise, I think Cubs for the most part, unless some closer becomes available, maybe trade for a bullpen, I think they're pretty much done.
Okay. So what about Framber Valdez? I think he's the one. I mean, he's the top guy in this list, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's somebody in this podcast had him as the number one pitching free agent. That was you. I think I had him sixth, but I just think he's 32, and I think he wants a long-term deal. I think there's some teams that probably won't go 3, maybe 4. I think he wants like a 5-year deal, and that's my guess is the holdup. I still think if I was going to say the 3 teams, I guess I'd say Orioles, Mets, Giants, maybe as the 3 possibilities. But I don't see him going back to Houston.
No, I'm with you. I don't see him going back to Houston. And we got to talk about the catcher cross-up thing that he seemingly did on purpose. where he was upset at his catcher, and he said he was going to throw this pitch, and he throws another pitch and just absolutely blasts the catcher, made him look foolish. That's a no-no in a lot of MLB clubhouses and stuff like that. So do you think that's going to keep Framber away from let me say a veteran clubhouse? Maybe he'd have to sign a contract with a younger team like an Oakland Athletics or something like that.
Well, there's no Oakland Athletics.
I know. I knew you were going to say it as soon as I said it.
But
they're right there with the Cleveland Indians, right? Yes.
Yes, the Montreal Expos.
Correct.
I don't see that. I think it's going to be a veteran team. I think he wants to win, and it's going to be a team that spends money. That might be hurting him. I don't know. I don't think a team, because he's a really good pitcher. I don't think a team, because he did that, we're just taking him. We're just not going to sign him, and we're just going to be a worse team, because he's just really good at getting outs. He's not like a big strikeout guy, and he played in that Crawford box in Houston as a lefty. It's so tough to be a lefty there, and he still was just really good, really consistent. So whatever team signs him, he's going to instantly make better. And you said 10 wins. If he gets run support, he could win 20, because that's true. He's a really good pitcher.
And you mentioned it earlier, he's 32 years old, but he didn't pitch a whole lot in the beginning of his career, and he's kept his innings down. So if you look at other 32-year-olds, I wish I had it pulled up here in front of me, but I don't. His actual innings aren't as high as what you would expect for his age. So that may be something that teams look at as well. Let me go through each one of these for just a second. So Framber Valdez is a 1 or a 2. Yes? Would you agree with that?
I think he's a 1.5. I think he's more of a 2, but he can be a 1 if he's on. I mean, he's been a 1 for the Houston in the past, but I think he's more of a 1.5.
Okay. What about Zach Gallen? Where does he fit in your rotation? Is he the same thing? Is he 1.5, or is he a solid 2? Is he a little lower than that? Where would you think he fits into all of that?
Well, for 2/3 of the season, he pitched like a 4 or 5, and then the last third of the season, he pitched like a 2. So I don't know. That's probably. Let's just say maybe he's an unknown. If we get the really good Zach Gallen, then he's a 1 or 2. If we get the first half last year, then he's a back of the rotation. I think that and the qualifying offer are why he is still unemployed.
Okay. And the qualifying offer is a pretty big part to his story. I will certainly agree with you on that. So the other part here, what about a Justin Verlander? Can he bring something else to the table besides his pitching acclimate?
He can. He's winner. He's won in the postseason. He's won World Series. I think the biggest thing with him is he's going to want money. He's not going to say, 1 year, $3 million, 1 year, $4 million. If he's going to play, he's going to want some money. So I think that's the biggest hiccup. I don't think anyone right now wants to pay him what he thinks he's worth.
Okay. And I think Max Scherzer's kind of in that same boat, right? I'm the veteran, I'm the leader, I'm the this, I'm the that, and not as much as Verlander, but Scherzer is really on board with the Players Association. So I almost think that hampers him a little bit. He has to get a big money contract that he's not going to sign. So,
yeah, I mean, they're going to probably want at least $15 million on a 1 year deal, and
yes,
with they're in their 40s now, and we saw some decline. I just don't see a team right now that's willing to pay that. I think both could end up on a team. Maybe late in the year there's an injury, but they're not going to get the money they want.
Okay. All right. I agree with that. And then to me, Chris Bassett's probably the guy that every team could use. I don't care if you've already got all 5-year rotational pieces set. I don't care if you got your bullpen set, as we saw last year for Toronto, which is where Chris Bassett played. He said, yes, you need me out of the bullpen, I'll do that. Yes, do you need me to be the starter? I mean, yes, he is 34, 35 years old. He's got some mileage on him, but I think he's the guy who could be that really important bridge on any of these 32 teams could use a Chris Bassett. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like I said, he's back in the rotation at this point, but all 5 starters at one point got hurt for the Braves last year. So I can see why they're interested in him. He makes 31, 32 starts every year. That's Chris Bassett. And, he'll probably have an ERA in the low, high 3s, low 4s. He'll make his starts. He'll go get quality starts. And yeah, I think everyone could definitely use a player like that. Can't hear you. I cannot hear you, sir. You are muted for some reason.
Yeah, there we go. I coughed and then I switched screens and then I had to get back to it. And yeah. So I apologize. That's the second time I've done something crazy like that. But okay, so we'll try not to make it a third time. All right, that's what we'll work on here. So we already talked about what teams are looking for in these free agents. So let me ask you this, Cheese: do you see a team that they don't have quite the pitching that they want, they don't have quite the hitting that they want, but they've got like 20 million more they can spend, and then they go out and they sign multiples of these free agents? Maybe they sign Andujar and Gallen, or they'll sign Verlander and Ozuna or something like that, to where a team that's kind of looking for these, maybe a Pittsburgh Pirates or something like that, that's looking to kind of fill out their roster, and they've got some money to spend. Do you think they'll sign multiples of these guys, and is that really going to help their team?
I don't think so. I don't think any team out there I'd see that really still needs to fill two holes, like two pitching holes. So I doubt it. A lot of it has to do with, I think one of the holdups, especially with the pitching, has been that some of these teams didn't know what they're getting out of their TV contract, which we're going to talk about in a second. Mm-hmm. And I think that definitely held the Reds up for sure. I think why they maybe had to wait to sign Eugenio Suarez, but I'm just looking at teams.
You getting his name right?
Did I actually get it right this time?
Yes, Eugenio Suarez. Look at you.
All right. No, I don't. I just don't see a team going after two of these guys, but definitely one. And there's always someone still there in February that's surprising, and this year it's Framber.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those free agent moves and trades that have happened since the last time we talked to our fans here on the Lights Out Sports podcast last Tuesday, same time, same place. White Sox got Jordan Hicks, David Sandlin, 2 players to be named later, and $8 million in cash for Gage Zail, I think, and a player to be named later from, that's going back to the Red Sox. Looking at that trade, okay, that's the White Sox saying, okay, we'll take the money from Jordan Hicks because the Red Sox have made a few deals and they want to get their money down a little bit. And they're taking on this David Sandlin, who is supposed to be a really, really good prospect for them. And they're getting $8 million and 2 players to be named later. So the White Sox are doing some things here towards the end. They're kind of that team that I was talking about earlier where, are you going to get a team that's going to sign 3 or 4 of these last guys on the roster? And so far they're doing that. We'll talk about all of those signings here in a second, but just this trade between the Red Sox and the White Sox, does it benefit any of them as far as that part goes?
Yeah, it's a good move for the White Sox, I think. Jordan Hicks, he stinks. Used to be good. He's not very good anymore. And Boston just didn't want to carry him. Yeah, Boston just wanted to get rid of the money, but had to give him some prospects to do it. Boston's had a very questionable offseason. Honestly, I think their fans aren't going to be too happy. But Jordan Hicks, they didn't want him to be part of the team anyway, so they just did what they could. And the White Sox were like, all right, we'll take on some money. We're rebuilding. Let's improve our farm system because the White Sox have been a joke for years.
Yeah, so they did. They took on that $24 million contract from Jordan Hicks, and they did so because they're going to get 2 players to be named later. They got a really good pitching prospect from the Red Sox organization and David Sandlin as well. Now, just sticking with the White Sox part of this, just here in the last week, they have signed pitcher Seranthony Dominguez, a reliever. They signed Austin Hayes earlier. And then if you remember a couple of weeks ago, the White Sox said that they would use the $20 million in savings that they got when they traded with the New York Mets, and they traded Luis Robert Jr. So between the $12 million that's owed to Hicks, follow me here a second, the $6 million that's owed to Hayes in the first year of his 2-year contract, and then the $8 million that they're going to pay Dominguez again in the first year of that contract, they actually did what they said they were going to do. So I know you're a Cubs fan, not necessarily a White Sox fan, but when your club comes out and says, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then they actually do it, what does that do to you as a fan on the fan base itself? Well,
they've been one of the cheapest organizations for years, so it's good. It's good to do something. Both these players have flaws. Seranthony Dominguez walks too many people, but he does miss bats. Austin Hayes, man, remember when he was a big time prospect for the Orioles, and he just never really broke out. He's always just been like a league average bat. So, it's got to be better than whatever else they're throwing out there.
That's true.
But
that's true. So,
he's just a solid veteran, and both these players, if they have a bad year, which they're probably not going to be very good, both these players, if they're having good seasons, they could flip them at the deadline and get even more prospects. That's what the Cubs did in like 2011, 12, 13. They did that. They'd signed veterans to fill out the roster and then flipped them at the deadline, and were able to get some good players off of that, good prospects.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably what they're thinking too, is like, these are good, solid signings.
Yeah, that very well could be. I mean, if Jordan Hicks has an above average year, somebody might take a chance on him at the trade deadline. I would say they're going to get something pretty good for Sir Anthony Dominguez if he has a good year, because everybody uses or can use relievers. Mm-hmm. And then, they're going to take a flyer on Austin Hayes and see what happens. So, yeah, that could all really come out for them better as far as the Chicago White Sox. I want to talk about this free agent signing here, and that is the deal the Giants made earlier this week. They signed Luis Arraez. I want to talk about Luis because I think we got a little bit of a different opinion on him. But the Giants signed him to a 1-year, $12 million deal, and then actually said in the press conference that he's going to play second base. So let's divide this into two. Are you okay with Luis Arraez, 1 year, $12 million? And secondly, what about Luis Arraez playing second base?
Yeah, I think 1 year, $12 million. That's a good team-friendly deal. He did have kind of a down year with the bat, but before that, I mean, he never strikes out, makes contact, puts the ball in play, good fit for their ballpark, makes a ton of sense. So he's one of those players, if you had an open spot at DH, mm-hmm. he's someone I would like to have. And you have a lot of power already because he has no power. Just always like watching him hit because he's just like an old school, try to put the ball, a single double hitter. Mm-hmm. No, he can't play second base. He's terrible there. One of the worst second basemen I've seen in a long time. Yep. Defensively. He's bad at first base. He's just a terrible defender. He's got to DH and maybe an emergency filling at second or first. They're going to lose some. His defensive run save might be pretty bad this year at second because he hasn't played second in several years, and when he did, it was really bad.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But I also have to kind of back up what you said a little bit here. I like Luis Arraez. I like this old school get on base, don't strike out. I wish he walked a little more, and I wish he could play defense a little more. And because of those two things, he's kind of hampered with that. So I like you. I like the 1 year, $12 million. I don't think he's going to stick at second base. But I think the reason why he was still out there and was still available is because he's not a typical DH. Like you said, usually typical DH, you're swing and miss, but give you 25 to 30 home runs a season. And Luis Arraez is not even close to being that guy. He might be, though, the best prototypical number 2 hitter in anyone's lineup when it's all said and done.
Yeah, He is not your typical DH, but if you have a team with a lot of power, that's what I was saying. If you have a team with already a lot of power and had that spot open, then he would fit. It just depends how your team is structured. But I think it's a good signing for this late in the season.
And really, the Giants have a lot of. I mean, they got Chapman, they've got Devers, they've got some people on that team who can give them a lot of power. So I don't think they necessarily need to go out and find another 25 to 30 bats. So. We've got $12 million just sitting over here collecting dust. Let's spend it on this guy and see if he can be what us old people like to call a table setter and get on base in front of the power guys. Now, with the addition of Arraez, it brings the total payroll $30 million over what the Giants had last year. Last year they had $206 million. Now all of a sudden they've got $236 million. So when you're constructing everything, Cheese, is this a good resource of this $12 million, especially when it goes above and beyond what you did last year?
I mean, they're under the luxury tax, so if you stay under the luxury tax, yeah, sure, why not? There's no reason not to add them. Just $12 million, that's nothing to these teams. And if they have a bad year, like we just said with the White Sox, if something goes wrong with the Giants, they could always flip them. They can always flip and lower payroll that way.
They could if they end up. I mean, that's a tough division. You know, they've
Very
got
tough.
yeah. So they've got Padres, Dodgers, Diamondbacks that we're not real sure about, and here we go, Giants that we're not real sure about. So should be an interesting National League West when it's all said and done.
Guess you're not worried about the Rockies. Guess you're.
No, I'm not worried about the who, where, what? No.
The Denver Rockies, I think they're called.
Yeah. Yes, no one's worried about the Rockies. So don't. The Rockies aren't even worried about the Rockies, obviously, because they have done absolutely nothing but a few fringe signings, and they're terrible. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. Let's talk about the Mariners. The Mariners got their second baseman, Brendan Donovan, from the St. Louis Cardinals. So they being the Mariners, sent Ben Williams and some guy's name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. It starts with a J, and his last name starts with a C. There we go. We'll call him JC. And Ty Pete, plus a competitive round B pick to the Cardinals. They sent all of that to the Cardinals. The Rays then sent Colton Ledbetter and another second round compensatory pick to the Cardinals as well. So they've got two of these B picks. I'll explain it to you guys here. A late 70s pick and an early 80s. So as you start going down through and picking everything, Cheese, you have said this forever, and I can't wait to get your take on this. Being the NFL draft guy, you have said forever, hey, we need to be able to trade picks in Major League Baseball. And these are the picks that you can trade, the competitive balance round picks. Is the picks really going to make that much of a difference to the St. Louis Cardinals as they're rebuilding?
If they hit on them. But I think it's not just those picks, it's the extra bonus money you get with them.
Okay. Explain that.
So basically you have a certain amount of money per pick, and you can go over or under as long as your total equals that. I think you can go maybe 5% over the total. So they can give a guy, they pick in I believe the top 10, you can go over budget. Like say the budget for the pick is 7.2 million. You can give, that's not that high, but just hypothetical. You can give a guy 9 million and then use one of those picks later and get a guy way under slot to make up for it, or do the opposite. You can save money later and use those two picks for some high upside high school guys, sign them away from college because you save money on your first round pick. Teams do it all the time. And that's picks. Yes, picks in the 70s, 80s rarely work out, but it's more so about the slot value, the money, because it will allow you to do more things, be more flexible and more aggressive in the MLB draft.
All right. Jamal, I think you're talking about the golfer. I think you have our show confused with some other shows. I don't think we've ever talked golf on this show. And since I had to look him up and go, oh, wait, that's a golfer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any thoughts. I don't like golf. It's boring. So we'll stick to football and baseball, but I appreciate your comment, and you can ask, pretty much anything you want, and we'll take a few seconds and we'll answer you. So thank you for at least putting the comment out there.
I've heard of Tiger Woods. Have
you?
I've heard of him, yes.
Now, I think his ex-girlfriend's in the Olympics right now, too.
I've heard of Happy Gilmore.
Yes, I do like that movie. I've never seen the second one, but I did like the first one.
He's a good golfer.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Brandon Donovan was a big move for the Mariners. I think that solidifies their team, gives them a really good second baseman there in Seattle as well. And then lastly, I got to make this the last one because this is my team. I'm not sure if I like this. I don't know. I'm probably going to really upset some Reds fans here because I'm not sure how much I really love this, even though I've got more Eugenio Suarez autographs back here than anyone. If you guys get a chance, Eugenio Suarez is the only guy, autograph-wise, that I have ever had the clipboard. And I usually hold the clipboard and they sign. He was like, no, sir, give me that. And I had multiple cards on the clipboard. He took his time and he spoke to me, and his autograph is beautiful. It's not one of these and he's done. You can certainly tell what that autograph says. He's signed multiple things for me. So if you get a chance, get yourself a really nice Eugenio Suarez autograph here in the spring training time. not the in the Cactus League here out in Arizona. So he signed a 1-year contract, $15 million, with a mutual option for a second year. It depends on who you ask. I've heard the second year is $15 million as well. I've heard the second year is $16 million. What's another $1 million, right? But it is a mutual option. We'll talk about that in a second. He hit 49 home runs last year, but he batted .228, and he struck out 29.8% of the time. Jeez. What do you think about the Eugenio Suarez signing with the Cincinnati Reds?
Yeah, his on-base percentage was under 300. That was more concerning. I don't care if someone hits 228 if hit 49 home runs. The average doesn't bother me at all. The on-base percentage does. You know, if you're going to hit 228, you need to have like a 340 on base. You know, you need to walk a lot. But it gives the Reds right-handed power, and they need another power bat. And do I think he'll replicate that 49? Probably not, but it's just something the Reds were lacking. And compared to what people were projecting he was going to get, this could be a huge bargain for them. They might be able to get him 2 years, $30 million for a guy that hit 49 home runs last year. So his defense worries me. It's gone downhill, but it's just a power bat, and the Reds really needed it. So I like this signing.
So I've got a bunch of different stats here. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go to first. He does offer a presence that will certainly protect Elly De La Cruz. Cheese, what do we mean when we say that another guy is going to protect a guy in your lineup? What is that, and how important is that when you're constructing a lineup?
It's so important. So basically what teams can't do is pitch around Elly De La Cruz. They can't just maybe throw him, you know, breaking balls outside the zone and hope he swings at it, and he takes a lot of walks. You know, people would do that with the Giants, you know, when they had to get Jeff Kent on the team to bat behind him because Barry Bonds wasn't getting pitched to at all. So it's just very important. You need your best hitters to be able to swing the bat. So yeah, that's it's going to definitely help Elly De La Cruz. Hadn't thought about that aspect, but yeah.
Yeah, he's a really poor defender. I don't think he'll play much third base, maybe a little bit of first base. You've got Spencer Steer there. You've got a new kid that we're bringing up, Stewart there. Sal Stewart will probably play more there. He's a great
I think Sal
prospect.
Stewart will probably play there. Yeah, you think so? You think he's going to DH?
Yeah, I think he's going to be 85% DH.
Okay.
So, you know, yes, and yes. He is
that's
a
true.
strikeout. Go ahead.
Well, just say if that's true, that explains why he had to take a lesser deal if no one wanted him to play the field.
Well, so, I mean, I read a lot. He even said today, I saw a little bit of his press conference today that he had with Cincinnati. He used to be in Cincinnati. A lot of us fans, I was pretty upset when they let him go.
He was a Cubs killer. He was definitely a Cubs killer.
Yeah. He's a different player now that he's come back. But that's one of the great things. He's always willing to be a mentor to whoever. He's a great guy. He is positive vibes only is one of the things. You'll probably see him in spring training wearing the shirts and stuff like that. But he is a strikeout machine. 1, 2, 3. His last 4 years: 196, 214, 176, and 196 again. That's how many times he struck out per year in the last 4 years. So if you would look at both him and Elly De La Cruz, so if you combine last year's strikeout totals, that's 377 strikeouts between who was probably going to be their number 3 and number 4 hitter. But before you wring your hands too much, everybody was on the Kyle Schwarber bandwagon. You know, he ended up signing this huge 5-year deal. Kyle Schwarber actually struck out one more time last year than what Suarez did. He struck out 197 times last year, while Suarez struck out 196. He does turn 35. He's a little bit older. I'm not sure if we can go 40. I'm certainly not going to say 50 like some of the people on the Twitter universe were saying. But I certainly think he can give you 30 to 35. What do you think about a realistic expectations of home runs in Great American Ballpark for Suarez this year, Cheese?
Yeah, I think he hits in the 30s. That's my guess. 49 will be tough. I mean, he could hit 40. He could. He's got a lot of power. But, yeah, I would say probably in the mid-30s would be my guess.
All right, so the Reds were 21st in home runs last season. They only hit 167 of them as a team. So this will jump them up quite a bit. And let me give you just a couple more stats here real quick. When they homered, go ahead.
No, you finish, and then I have breaking news. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So when they homered, the Cincinnati Reds, when they homered, they were 58-36. And when they didn't homer, they were 25-43.
So that's bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty telling stat right there. I'll kind of leave that there. You said you had breaking news. Tell us, buddy, what do you got?
According to online, Shedeur Sanders just threw an interception in the Pro Bowl.
No way. I am shocked.
We talked about it last week. You guys can look it up if you want to watch the segment last week, how dumb it is that he made a Pro Bowl. But yeah, I just thought, thought you might want to know that. Yeah, shocker, right?
The Arizona Diamondbacks, by the way, it's not really breaking news. It happened a few hours ago. But here in Arizona, got a little bit of a pulse on that team. I can give you a little bit more of the details. Arizona Diamondbacks, as long as he passes a physical, have agreed to a contract with first baseman Carlos Santana on a 1-year, $2 million contract. So, yeah.
Real quick question: is Paul Goldschmidt still available?
Paul Goldschmidt is still available.
And they went with Carlos Santana ahead of him.
And they went with Carlos Santana. Yes, that might be
more
of the story.
Carlos Santana. Sorry? Never mind. Never mind. It was.
I'm a little surprised they didn't try to re-up Paul Goldschmidt. The fans here really wanted it, and yeah. So
I'm gonna just real quick compare their stats. Now he's probably cheaper than Goldschmidt, is my guess.
Yes,
but Santana didn't do well last year. Hit 219.
No.
Yes. Can't possibly be better defensively than Goldschmidt. I mean, there's no way. Goldschmidt hit 274.
He's a good defender, though.
Oh, he is? Okay. Oh, yeah, Goldschmidt's power kind of disappeared last year, but he's still at 274. So he could be a lot cheaper. I'm just a little surprised that they didn't look. It would have been a cool homecoming.
Honestly, I'm a lot of surprised that they didn't do it. Now, they do still have kind of a DH role that they could, bring him to if they really wanted to, but I'm not sure if Goldschmidt will take that role, to be honest. Kind of like we were talking earlier, a lot of those free agents want full-time roles, and because they're not going to be offered that, I think they're still sitting out there. I think Paul Goldschmidt would be in that same boat.
If I were the Diamondbacks, I would have signed Luis Arias to DH. Now, it's possible Arias wanted to play the field, and that's why it took so long, but I would have signed him to be a DH. But
I'm with you. I thought maybe they were going to, too. There were some rumors saying they were going to do that. So I thought he would have fit really nice in between Marte and Perdomo. So, yeah, would have given them a really good top of the lineup. The World Baseball Classic has a huge hiccup right at the moment, Cheese. I know you're not big into the World Baseball Classic, but I'll take just a few seconds to talk about it. Several players are being told that their insurance will not cover them. So let me explain for a moment. So National Financial Partners, that's the MLB partner and insurance broker who handles all of those policies. So players can be classified as having what they call chronic injuries when a hurler, that they're hurdles as far as getting them insured. Players who were injured for 60 days or longer in the prior season can be this chronic. Chronic can also be a person who missed 2 of the team's last 3 games due to an injury in the prior season, someone who underwent off-season surgery, no matter what kind it was. They've undergone multiple surgeries throughout their career, and they were placed on the injured list on the final day of August or later in the previous season. All of those things can be chronic or can be done as this whole chronic injury thing, and makes it to where a lot of the insurance companies don't want to cover them. Again, I know you're not a big World Baseball Classic guy, but this has come up here right at the end. Actually, the World Baseball Classic rosters have to be out today. And this all of a sudden has become a problem where they're not going to be covered. So saying all of that, I want to ask you this. If you're so you're a Cubs and Braves guy. I tell you what, let's use Acuna, because Acuna is going to play in the World Baseball Classic.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes, I agree with you as the unfortunate part. But if Acuna comes to Atlanta and says, "Hey, I want to play in the World Baseball Classic, but nobody's going to cover me because I've had multiple surgeries in my career, so I expect you to cover me with the insurance that you've already got on me." If you're the Atlanta Braves, what are you telling Robert Acuna Jr.?
No. Come to spring training. Don't play in the World Baseball Classic. It's stupid.
But he wants to have a gold medal for his country. He wants to represent them. He wants to play with some of the other players.
It's not the Olympics. It's not the World Cup like soccer. It's something MLB created to try to make the baseball more international. It's stupid. I don't like it. I don't want any. If I'm an owner of an organization, if I own the Cubs or Braves, I try to get, especially second contracts, something in there that they cannot play in the World Baseball Classic, especially pitchers, because you need to be like, if you guys did not know, anyone watching, when you're a pitcher, you have to gradually build your arm up. Okay. Usually you take a few months in the offseason, you don't even pitch at all, and then you gradually build your arm back up. And it needs to be regulated, because some guys all of a sudden will start having shoulder or elbow pain out of nowhere. And you're pitching in this classic, you're not regulated. You don't have your training staff, you don't have your manager. So you are not regulated. So especially pitching, I would not want my players to be in it at all. I try to talk them out of it. I want them in spring training with their teammates.
And that's part of it too. But I mean, they usually will listen to the teams. They'll regulate stuff for them. If they say, "Hey, no, I don't want them pitching more than 40 pitches in any outing," then the team manager and stuff like that will usually honor those wishes. So there is some workaround. There is some partnership there as far as that part goes. But I certainly understand where you're coming from. Now I want to spin this a little bit. Let's say Acuna shows up to camp, and Acuna is upset because he wanted to go play and you told him no. Is that worth it to you to still have him know when he comes to camp upset and he's spreading negative vibes and all that kind of stuff, Cheese?
Well, it depends on the situation. I mean, I would talk to him, try to talk him out. I wouldn't be like, my way or the highway. I wouldn't just treat him like that. I would treat him professionally, but I would definitely try to talk him out of it. And he's the most important player on the Braves. And so we've seen his best, and it's incredible. So okay, this is crazy. They actually won the World Series without him. Okay. But they made some really good trades at the deadline and got like Jorge Soler. He was World Series MVP. They made some really good trades with that. But when he got hurt again, it tanked their season the second time he got hurt. So he's so important to the team. So someone like that, I would just try to talk him out of it.
Yeah, I completely understand exactly what you're talking about here. I had a couple more things with the World Baseball Classic, but I think we've covered everything right there. It's going to be a developing story. Will the teams say yes? Will the teams cover them with their own insurance? Last year, you had Edwin Diaz get hurt. Most people will remember he was celebrating, jumping up and down on the mound, and all of a sudden he collapses, and that really hurt the Mets' season. So not last year, but the last time they had the World Baseball Classic. So I get the trepidation from teams. And I get what you're saying 100%. And here's the other part of this. Most of these guys are millionaires. I don't see why they can't get their own insurance policy. But nobody said that to anybody as far as I can. I read a lot of stuff on this today. I don't know why they just don't go out and get their, Francisco Lindor is one of the guys that's really barking about this. And
he does that.
Right. You've made several $1 million, buddy.
He's also done this to the fans. When the fans are booing, he's always done down things. I just don't really care for him.
All right, so let's talk about these rights here for the broadcasters, and then we'll jump into our NFL 4-down territory here in just a moment. So MLB is going to take over 6 additional teams' broadcasts. It looks like MLB will be adding the Brewers, the Marlins, the Rays, the Royals, the Cardinals, and the Reds. First of all, Cheese, would you consider any of these teams, Milwaukee, Florida, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, St. Louis, or Cincinnati, would you consider any of these cities major markets?
not the cities. I think St. Louis of all of them has just a much bigger fan base. But no, I mean, these obviously the bigger market, you're not going to have these kind of issues. So yeah, of all of them, the Cardinals is the most surprising, just because they have, such a bigger just fan base as far as the rest of them go. But no, I don't think any of the cities are major markets. Definitely not Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So what you're seeing, and I guess my point with this is, the Yankees aren't involved in this. Boston's not involved in this. The Dodgers aren't involved in this.
Cubs are not involved.
These big major market teams aren't involved in this stuff. And I'm not sure what MLB is going to do when they try to sell the rights to some of these teams. I mean, if you go to ESPN, or if you go to TBS, or if you go to TNT, or pick your Netflix or wherever you want to go to, and you're like, okay, we want the maximum amount of money for the Brewers, the Marlins, the Rays, the Royals, the Cardinals, and the Reds. Now, hand us millions, and I'm not sure if anybody's going to do that. So there are 3 other teams that are still kind of in limbo. The Tigers, a decent size market. The Anaheim Angels, another decent size market. And then I really want to get your take on this one, the Atlanta Braves, as you being a fan of that team. Now, the Tigers and the Angels are still trying to make deals with other satellite-type companies or regional sports networks or one of those kinds of things. But I was looking a lot at this. The Braves are being kind of vague as to what they're going to do, but they're pointing towards maybe they're going to do the Yes Network or NESN or something like that, where the Braves are going to try to launch their own network that broadcasts their own games. What do you think about that? Do you like this idea of being a Braves fan, Cheese?
Well, I did hear that rumor, and they also were talking to Atlanta Hawks about possibly putting their games on there too. Mm-hmm. I heard that rumor. Well, it's all rumors, but here's the thing. The Braves television contract, the whole situation has been a mess for like 20 years.
Yes.
Basically, it's like when Skip Carey died. It's like when Skip Carey passed away, it was like everything just went to shit. But they signed like one of the worst TV contracts ever and I think it signed a 25-year deal with Fox Sports South or something like that. And it was by 10 years later, like the Phillies and the Mets were getting 4 or 5 times more money out of their TV. And at the time, they just weren't able to spend as much. And because they were stuck in a bad contract, it's been a disaster for years. Let's put it that way. And so, yeah, I think they're better off just doing something like that. I hope they can because just keep trying to find someone it's been a disaster. And yeah, the owners, I think it was about 20 years ago signed, like 2003 maybe, they signed one of the worst baseball TV contracts ever.
Yes, they did.
Just even like 3 or 4 years later, it was like a terrible contract.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like what the A's are doing with a lot of their guys right now, right? 7 years, $70 million, and boy, the kid's like, wow, I'm 24 years old and I'm getting $70 million. Well, in 3 years from now, when you're going to be hitting, 30 and 100 and whatever, then you're going to be looking at that contract going, wow, I could have got so much more. So it's
true, but they get more in the meantime, and so they get more in the meantime helps them. I love those contracts. The Braves are notorious. They are. Braves do those all the time. Yes, Acuna is a perfect example. He's way underpaid, but it helped them win a title because they kept the payroll down. So I love what the A's are doing as they move into Vegas. They're setting up their young core, and that's what the Braves did. They signed all their young core, and that's really important.
I want to take some time. We're going to talk about the Oakland A's next week before we jump into the spring training stuff. I do. I'm with you. I like a lot of what they're doing. I'm not sure how popular talking about the A's is going to be, the Sacramento A's. But
they got so many good young bats, and Nick Kurtz.
They really.
Kurtz, God, he is a monster. And most people don't even know who he is, but he was like the 4th overall pick 2 years ago, and just rookie of the year. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, and most people, probably casual fans, have no idea who he is.
Correct. Now, as you were talking, even though the Braves signed a bad TV contract, they knew how much money they were going to get from this TV contract every year. It gave them some clarity on that.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you think about this, Cheese, now that these other teams, Marlins, Brewers, Rays, Royals, Cardinals, Reds, we saw the Reds do it. They were told how much they were going to get from MLB, and then the next day they signed Suarez. Do you think any of these other teams are going to try to sign anybody now that they know how much money they're actually going to get from MLB and these other television rights deals?
Possibly. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it held up the Reds all season. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's possible. And did you see – let me know if you saw this, because I saw something online that said that the the company that had the Cardinals games was owed them like millions in December and didn't pay them.
Yes.
They just didn't even pay them.
Yeah, we will talk about that here in just a second.
Okay.
Actually, that'll be how I wrap this segment up before we get into your NFL segment, buddy. So yes, we certainly will. We will circle the wagons, as I like to say all the time here. One last thing before we get to that. Last year, you said this stuff was a mess in Atlanta. Cheese, this is one of the things I don't like about MLB right now. The whole television contract negotiation with a lot of the teams is a mess. The top end teams are okay, but these middle and bottom teams, their fans have got to be frustrated. I'm frustrated as both a Diamondback and a Reds fan, as I'm trying to figure out, what package do I need to buy? What am I going to do? Spring training games are right around the corner, and I want to see my team and all this kind of stuff. So last year, MLB took the rights to the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Twins, and the Guardians. Yes, the Guardians. But this year, and for the next 3 years, MLB sold those rights to ESPN. And we don't even know what that means yet for these viewerships of any of these teams. It's just a few weeks before spring training, and no one seems to be talking about this. But here's what I wonder, and I've been saying this the entire time, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be, is ESPN going to force fans to buy that whole ESPN Plus thing where it's like $30 a month to get these games?
I hope not. But that would be so like Disney to do something like that, because Disney owns ESPN. It's
right.
That'd be such a Disney thing to do. And here's the solution. This will never happen. This is what I would do, but Rob Manfred will never do this. Let the teams shop their rights to streaming services, right? So maybe, well, let's use one of those. Let me pull up the notes. Yeah, so maybe the Royals makes a deal with Paramount Plus. Maybe the Rays make a deal with Hulu. Maybe Marlins make a deal with Peacock, right? And so the fans, all they have to do is pay the 10, 12, 15 a month, whatever the service costs, and they can watch all their games. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be great, because there are literally fans that will get cable just to watch the local games. But all you have to do is just pay for streaming. And trust me, Netflix, Paramount Plus, all of them, they want that. They want that whole fan base to subscribe. So they would make money too. So I think that would be a great solution. Baseball would not do that. They want to control more. But I just think that would be such a good solution, is to have them all on one streaming service. And it would save them so much money not having to get MLB.TV to just pay the $10, $12 a month.
So I understand what you're saying. You kind of wrapped it up at the end. The problem with, there's 32 teams. You could have to maybe buy, 15 different streaming services if you really want to see all of the games?
Well, you still have MLB.TV. It's more expensive. But if you just want to watch Reds games, I'm a Reds fan. I don't care about the Mariners. I don't care about the Dodgers. I just want to watch the Reds. Then you only have to pay $12, $15 a month.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
That does exist, by the way. All of these teams that are now, let me go through them again here. The Brewers, the Marlins, the Rays, Royals, Cardinals, Reds. All of those teams that are with MLB right now, that's how MLB is packaging them.
Okay, they are.
It's $19.99 a month for just that team, or it's $99.99 a year, and there's no blackouts. Even if you live 3 miles from the stadium, they're still going to show you the game all the time. And
the blackouts is a problem.
Blackout has been the problem.
It's a huge problem.
Yes. And if you go ahead and buy either one of those two packages, you will have no blackouts. They need to stop doing random games on like Apple TV and stuff where you can't. They're never going to do that, though.
They got to stop doing it. I want all the games on one streaming service for that team that year. All 162. I think it would be great. Minus, okay, I guess. Well, but even so, like Sunday Night Baseball is NBC now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We'll talk about that in a week or two.
Okay.
As soon as they get their people lined up, I think, I've heard rumors as I know who it's going to be. It'll be interesting. A former Cub and a former Red looks like they're going to join that team. So it will be very interesting here for that. Now, like you said, all of those games, no matter if they're on Apple or if they're on NBC, if you buy the $19.99 package, or the $100 package, the $99.99, $100, right? If you buy that package, you will see every game. There are no blackouts whatsoever. But if you buy the MLB package, what I buy every year for, I think it's like $219, I believe, for the whole season. But you get every game, every day. I mean, you get the highlights, you get so much stuff. I'm not trying to sit here and sell it to you guys, but I love it. But I'm not sure how many other people love it, because most people are just a fan of one, possibly two teams, and that's about it. They don't care about the rest of the teams, where I care about everybody. Right.
And there's most fans of teams just want to watch that team. And I would still get the MLB.TV, obviously, but most people I know just want to watch their team. It's not like football. Baseball is very different.
Yeah, it is a little different than football. You're 100% right. Lastly here, before we jump into our NFL this is the MLB 4-pitch talk. We'll go into NFL 4-down territory here in just a second. Last season, the Reds were owed $52 million. I'm going to circle back to what you were talking about, by the group that owns FanDuel Sports. They offered the Reds a settlement of $42 million, and the Reds said no. So this is the main reason why, as a couple days ago, the Reds have said, okay, now we're going to partner with MLB, which is going to be Reds TV, and it's going to be produced by MLB. But in a sport where markets are not equal, in a sport where there's no salary cap, ceiling, or floor, the television market should be at least similar to each other, so the generated revenues are at least comparable. But the Dodgers, as part of their bankruptcy settlement from the previous owners, signed this with MLB. They have a 25-year, $8+ billion TV deal. Now that equates to $334 million annually. So do you still wonder why the Dodgers shut out the Reds in the playoffs last year? And how are the other teams supposed to compete with the Dodgers when their television deal is the Reds can get $52 million and the Dodgers get $334? It's a huge discrepancy there. I would say, Cheese, and I want to get your take on this as we wrap this up, the Dodgers are not ruining baseball like everybody thinks they are. Baseball is allowing the Dodgers to ruin baseball.
They are allowed to. The Dodgers, they were able to get Sasaki for basically nothing, just free. Of course, he picked the Dodgers because there's a loophole. There's no posting fee if they're young enough. It's so basically, the Angels got Ohtani same way, basically for free. But you knew he was going to pick the Dodgers. You knew he was. Like, that's who he's going to pick. And I don't blame him for picking the Dodgers. There's so many loopholes, things the Dodgers have exploited. They don't care that they pay the tax, double tax. They don't care. And they have such an advantage. They can pay for just go out and spend and really sign any free agent they want. So they don't have to trade from their farm system unless that person is blocked. So their farm system's always good. They're not like some teams. Okay, we just have to go for it. Like we have to until you have to give up two of our top prospects to just get it.
Our year.
They don't have to do that ever because they can just go out in free agency and sign whoever they want. They could sign Framber Valdez if they want right now. They could give him more money than anyone. So there is a huge problem. And the Dodgers, they're doing everything according to the rules, but the rules suck. And one thing you mentioned, you said that the Reds were offered 42, they were owed 52. In December, did you see that the Cardinals were not even paid at all?
Yes.
By that group.
Yeah.
Not even paid.
The Reds were either they take that settlement or they take nothing, and they chose to take nothing. So a lot of those teams were paid nothing for that television contract last year, and a lot of fans don't know it.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, you've already got a middle market team, right? That is, I don't want to say struggling to make money, but is not, is not making money like some of the upper echelon teams. And then you do this to them too, and you say we still want you to compete with the big guys, and it's darn near impossible.
So, real quick before we go to football,
sure.
World Series odds.
Oh, here we go.
Who do you think's first?
Well, Dodgers are first. There's no doubt.
Plus 220. That's insane. No, everyone else is plus 1,000 or way more. Plus 220. I've never seen World Series odds like that in my life. Usually there's 4 or 5 teams. Like plus 1,000 used to be like the minimum, maybe plus 750. Plus 220. And you know what? That's probably a smart bet, to be honest with you. To bet, I don't know why you'd bet anyone else, but
I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it. We'll have to look at that here in a future episode. That'll be good. Send that to me, and we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
All right, buddy. So I know it is your time to shine because you are ready for the NFL. So let's give it to you. Let's give you the music. Let's give you the graphics. Let's go. All right, Cheese, give us a little bit of a preview. What can people expect over the next hour or so of our show as we do NFL 4-down territory?
It won't take an hour, but you never know with us. Arizona Cardinals have a new head coach. The Vikings fire their general manager during Senior Bowl week. And we have to talk about the NFL international games. And once again, everyone watching, we are doing a Super Bowl preview tomorrow night, same time, at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So make sure you check it out. And make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell for notification. If you're watching YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, please.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. We appreciate it. So now something we've not mentioned that I think I want to do right now.
Okay.
What is our lights out list? Our version of the top 10, Cheese. What are we going to do here at the end of the show?
So we're going to do, there's 10 new coaches. One not official, but we know who's going to coach all 10 teams. We're going to do the list from 10 to 1. We're going to pick the best hires, not the best team, not the best situations, the best hires of the 10. So basically, we would have hired number 1. The last person of the 10 we would have hired at number 10.
Oh, no, wait a minute. How are we doing this? I thought this was the best fit for the teams.
Oh, I have the best hires. I didn't have best fits. I had best hires, like who I would have hired, like 1 through 10.
Well, I may have to restructure my list a little bit while you're doing your stuff here. So, okay, not a problem. We'll get everything matching here. So, all right, sir, where do you want to start?
Let's start with your Arizona Cardinals. You are a Cardinal fan.
Wait.
Yes. So they hired the Rams offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, not Matt, Mike, as their new head coach. Obviously, he is the younger brother of Green Bay Packers coach, Matt LaFleur. I hate saying that. The rumor is the Cardinals wanted Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. When the Cardinals, didn't hire someone right away, we knew they were waiting for someone, and we figured it was Clint Kubiak. Both of us, we figured that. Mm-hmm. But he apparently is going to be the Raiders coach once the Super Bowl is over. You are, like I said, a fan of the Cardinals. Do you like this move hiring Mike LaFleur?
I mean, I would have liked Clint Kubiak more, but Mike LaFleur is not a bad fallback option. It's still a fallback option, though.
What was important, do you think, to get an offensive-minded coach? They went defense last time.
You kind of convinced me of something here a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this. I was going through and looking. They have literally gone offense, defense, back and forth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Vance Joseph, Cliff Kingsbury, Jonathan Gannon. So they've literally done this, and now here we are again, and we need an offensive coach. I think the head coach is important. I almost think the coordinators are more important than the head coach.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
kind of looking at that. there are tons of people that are going to get hired here. I believe there are 19 coordinator openings. And I get it. Some of those were because those coordinators took head coaching positions. But there are a lot of teams that seem to not like what their coordinators did, so they let them go, or they did something different, or they promoted from within, something such as, I don't know. I've really been focused on the coordinators over the last couple of days, looking at different things, and I think those coordinator spots are. I almost don't want to say just as important, but they are really important to the overall team structure. How about that?
Yeah. As you know, if you watch this, it's about getting the right person, not necessarily a defense or offensive coach. I think they should have brought back Dave McGinnis. I think that's what they needed to do. Yeah. What do you think? Okay. Vince Tobin.
Since I don't know who either of those two people are, I'm going to say no. So
25 years ago, they coached the Cardinals 25 and 30 years ago. Yeah. But bring Ken Whisenhunt.
Walkers on the sideline, right?
Let's bring back Ken Whisenhunt. Okay.
No, let's not do that. Even though he was the longest tenured coach for quite some time.
Steve Wilkes.
Experience.
Steve Wilkes lasted 1 year. Okay. So next question about Mike LaFleur. Actually, I don't think I had this in the notes, but I did want to ask you this. Does it bother you at all that he didn't call the plays in LA?
Well, of course it bothers me. I mean, I would much rather have a head coach who called the plays as a coordinator. But as you pointed out, he is responsible for the actual game planning and things like that. So, it's not like he doesn't have any responsibility. I would just like to have him have the pressure. Like, you have to call the right play right now. It's that kind of pressure on them. And because he's not had that kind of pressure, it makes me wonder, if it's 30 seconds left in the game and you're going to make the right call, do you call the timeout now? Do you throw the ball over the middle? Do you go for the sideline pass? What do you do? And because he's not had that pressure on him before, is he going to crack under it?
Yeah, he did call plays for 2 years for the Jets. He was the offense coordinator of the Jets, I believe.
Well, you and I could call plays for the Jets for 2 years.
Yeah, but so he has play calling experience. Not like he doesn't, but he has not called the plays the last 3 years. Should it matter that his brother is Matt LaFleur? Do you think that's like a good thing? Do you think it matters at all?
Well, I know what your opinion is.
Maybe.
This might be interesting then before it's all said and done here. I mean, everybody loves to talk about the coaching trees and all this kind of thing. So you've got two brothers already in the NFL, the Harbaugh brothers, and now you're going to have the LaFleur brothers. It'll be interesting, I think, to see which of the family trees are better before it's all said and done when the four of them retire. But I mean, it can't hurt, I guess. He can lean on his brother for some kind of advice, even if it's the wrong advice, possibly. But
how to blow an 18-point halftime lead? Like,
right.
Tell me, bro. How do you do that?
He's
so good at that.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe he just did that.
Good at that. He's so good at blowing halftime leads, 2 and 3 score leads.
Can you do the bro thing for me? One more. Come on,
bro. Hey, bro. How do I blow this game? How do I piss off the fan base and still get a contract extension? Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, Click. Man. I mean, again, it can't hurt, but, and I think that the Harbaugh thing for, see which one was John. John was the guy that was just out there. I think because he's got a brother and all that, I think that was kind of overrated and overblown for him. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it makes a ton of difference or not. I'm not even sure how much he's going to really lean on his brother. It'll make for some good football when the Packers and the Cardinals play each other, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, they do not play each other next year. Okay. Last question about this hiring. If you, as a Cardinal fan, could have picked someone besides Mike LaFleur, and we're going to exclude people like Robert Saleh, Clint Kubiak, John Harbaugh, anyone that got a job, who would you have picked? And I have someone as well. But we'll see what you say first.
are you going to also knock out coordinators or just head coaches?
No, it's just anyone that got a job, or anyone that currently has a job or just got a job. Like somebody that doesn't have a head coaching job in the NFL. If you could pick anyone besides Mike LaFleur, like who would you pick?
So this means I can't even pick the Shula kid because that's probably who I would.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, no, you can't pick him. He's not a head coach.
Okay, so that's why I was asking about coordinators.
Yes, you can pick him.
Okay, I would go with the Shula kid just because of the pedigree, just because of I like what he's done over the last few years, and I think he is a little bit more actually of an up and coming coach than what we've got. So I would have picked him.
Chris Shula, yeah, he's done a great job with the Rams defense. He was the overwhelming favorite when Mike Tomlin parted ways with the Steelers.
Yes.
And so big shock he didn't get the job, but he will probably get a job in the next couple of years. I'm going to go with – I don't even know if they interviewed Chris Shula, by the way. Did the Cardinals even interview him?
I don't think they did.
I'm going to go with someone they interviewed. And it's someone I'm a huge fan of. I think he's going to get a job next year. Anthony Campanile. He's the Jaguars defensive coordinator. He used to be the Packer linebacker coach. He is a motivator. He's done such a good job with that defense. I watch the Jaguars. I rewatch some games, and in the summer I rewatch every team, just a few games. And Jaguars defense was an absolute disaster. It was a total mess, missed assignments, and just totally undisciplined unit. Almost the same group came back, and they're so disciplined now. There's hardly any missed assignments. He just completely turned that defense around. So, Anthony Campanile, Jaguar defense coordinator. I think he'll be a hot candidate next year.
Well, I liked him a lot, Cheese, and I agree with you, but I think he chose to go back to Jacksonville, and that's the game, the dangerous game that the Cardinals played by waiting so long. I was afraid that the same thing was going to happen with LaFleur, actually, that they were going to horse around and wait and talk to Clint Kubiak one more time, and then all these good candidates were going to be gone. So yeah. But before we move on, can I ask you a question about the Cardinals and all of this that's going on?
Yeah.
So we both know that the quarterback situation is not solved in Arizona. What if you're the Arizona Cardinals? How do you explain that to the people you're trying to interview? I mean, do you allow them? Do you say, hey, what do you think we should do? Or do you say, okay, we know what we're going to do, but just don't tell anybody? I mean, how do you do that when you're conducting an interview with a person across from you and you're the main guy on your roster you don't know what you're doing?
I think that's a problem. I think that's the reason Clint Kubiak is not the Cardinal coach. He's going to be the Raiders coach. They have the first pick, and they're going to get Fernando Mendoza. And Clint Kubiak knows he's a really good fit for that offense. I think that's a problem. But you could always find someone that wants a head coaching job that will, take the risk of not having necessarily a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. But you have to ask what I think that's a reason so many people, did not want the Browns job or just even didn't interview or just pulled out from consideration is because of the quarterback situation. So, yeah, obviously Mike LaFleur's okay with it. And whatever the plan they have, they talk. He and Monty Austin Fort, the GM, they talked about it and they have a plan. And I don't know what it will be, but, maybe Malik Willis. Who knows? But
who knows?
Who knows? We never know. I don't think this will happen. I think it would be a huge mistake, but it's possible they like Ty Simpson and take him third. I think it would be a disaster, but the quarterback from Alabama. But obviously, he took the job, so he's comfortable with the situation.
Okay.
And I think Matt LaFleur is awful. If you did not know watching this, I think he's a terrible coach for Green Bay. I think they should have fired him. But Mike LaFleur is a better coach than his brother because he is, because there's no chance that he can't be. So Cardinals got a better coach than the Packers. So there you go.
And we'll see. Well, time will tell. But we will talk more about this Kyler Murray situation as the weeks unfold and we get closer and closer to the draft and we try to decide what the Arizona Cardinals will do with that third pick in the first round.
And Kyler Murray, the thing is, I just want to say this about him. He doesn't fit every offense. He can't just. People like Minnesota should just sign him. He doesn't fit that offense at all. Like, he's not going to fit every system. So he's might be limited on where he goes if they move on from him. So just want to point that out.
All right.
let's talk about the Vikings. They fired general manager Kwesi. I hope I said the name right. Adofo-Mensah. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Yeah.
Good job. Good job, sir. Good job.
Okay. After 4 years, he ran the front office. He was literally at the Senior Bowl this week scouting players when he was let go. Apparently, there's been a disconnect between a lot of people in the building in Minnesota and Kwesi for years. There's even a rumor that Kwesi lost some power and that head coach Kevin O'Connell and defense coordinator Brian Flores were picking the offensive and defensive free agents. Kevin O'Connell picking the offensive, Brian Flores picking the defensive, with Kwesi just running the draft. In particular, there was a rumor that mentions that O'Connell is not happy with not only the number of draft picks, because they didn't have a lot, and also his just drafting in general. What do you think of the timing of this firing? So, basically the week of the Senior Bowl.
Well, first of all, fans that are still with us, and we thank you that you guys are, you can always comment. We haven't had a comment for a while, so click some of those buttons and give us some things to talk about besides what we're doing right now. We are talking about the Minnesota Vikings and their firing of their general manager. That was meant to be insulting, Cheese. There's no other reason why you do it during Senior Bowl with him on the sidelines and everything else, and everybody knows he's there. That's the only reason you do that, is he pissed somebody off. And they're like, all right, well, we'll just wait and make this a public display. And that's exactly what they did.
Vikings are a mess. It's just the timing of it. Look, I get it. If you fire him middle of the year, if you fire him at the end of the year, I get it. Okay. He hasn't drafted well. He's done some good, but most of it's not been good. But he literally flew to Mobile.
Right.
And was at the talking to players, meeting with them, because they have dinner. The GMs and the coaches meet with the players. They have dinner at night with these players. He's doing his job. And the timing of it, and I kept waiting for Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter to report something big happened, something just tipped the scales, and nothing. You're right. They decided to do it at just a terrible time.
So you're saying he didn't go to college at Michigan?
No, he went to Ivy League school, actually.
Okay. I'm just
I get what you're
poking
saying.
at Michigan a little bit there.
Well, I mean, yeah, and he didn't, he wasn't hanging with OnlyFans models or anything like that, like the Michigan coach. No, no. But God, that Michigan story is still crazy. Sherrod Brown, I just crazy. Okay, so if I'm the owner, and there was tension and there was issues between the coach and the GM, and obviously he wasn't doing a good enough job. The Vikings won, I think, their last 5 games, but in the middle of the year, it was a disaster. Shouldn't they have fired him in the middle of the season when they were really struggling, and then they could have had another GM in place to start the offseason?
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why they didn't do that. That's a question for their ownership, obviously, but if I was a fan of the Vikings, I'd be saying the same thing. Like, why did we wait this long? I get it that you want to make a fool of him, but you're making a fool of him, but you're also damaging the team as a whole. Why would you choose that? Because that had to be what they were doing. This looked like a pre-done plan. And if that's the case, that's just terrible. That's bad business.
Well, I did have this in notes, but I don't know if you know this. So Jordan Addison, he drafted in the first round, very good wide receiver, tons of off-field issues. He was suspended for a while, and they blamed Kwesi for not having a plan in place besides when he was suspended. And they gave up a 4th-round pick for Adam Thielen. That was not Kwesi. He was forced to do that. I don't know if you saw that report. He was forced to do it, which is a terrible trade. Adam Thielen was clearly past his prime. He can't separate it all. Yes,
yeah. Now he said that when it was done.
And
and when he went to Pittsburgh,
they released him because he asked to be released because he wasn't playing because he's just So he had already lost control by that point. So that's when you need to move on from him. That, to me, the timing's terrible. And the Vikings just are not a well-run organization. They've had some good teams. They've never won a Super Bowl, but they've had teams that have gone far. They had a very good season last year, but just. You can't run your business like this and expect to be successful.
But what stops Kwesi Cheese from seeing the writing on the wall and going, you know what, I'm out? Wouldn't that have looked better for him than what actually happened?
He probably should have done that. He was not treated well. just a little surprised he was hired in the first place. He came from Andrew Berry, who's one of the worst GMs in the NFL. He learned under Andrew Berry. He was a finance guy on Wall Street, and he went to the 49ers, and then he went to the Browns. And he was Andrew Berry's right-hand man. And so I'm a little surprised he was hired in the first place. And, I mean, there are rumors that he was just overly analytical, like just, look at his drafts. Most part, they're pretty poor. But I think what bothered Kevin O'Connell more was the volume. Some years they had 4 or 5 picks, and that's it. And that's hard when you're a head coach, when you don't have depth. And the offensive line got hurt, and there was no depth the last couple of years. When the offensive line got hurt, it was just a disaster. But, so the Vikings salary cap manager, yes, their salary cap guy, Rob Brzezinski, will be in charge of free agency and the draft. And then the Vikings in the summer will find a permanent replacement for Kwesi.
So they had no plan in place whatsoever.
None. Absolutely none. Would you even want this job if you're like a hot GM candidate, considering you didn't get to sign or draft your own players?
No, not. I mean, I wouldn't want this job based on how they, what they did to their last GM. That's bad business. Why? There's 31 other teams. I'll wait. Thank you very much. Especially if I'm already in a spot where I'm relatively happy where I'm at, and I'm just waiting for a well, that's a big D, sir. Where I'm waiting for defense
in the Super Bowl, probably.
Okay.
Tune in
we'll
tomorrow.
Talk about that tomorrow night.
8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Excellent. I don't want this job. I'm not touching this job. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm not touching this job, especially if you with a good organization that drafts well, like Rams or Eagles or Buccaneers that continually typically drafts well. You're like assistant GM or something. Why would you want this job? Just you'll get a better job next year. It's they might have to promote from within to get anyone to take it because they just handled it so poorly. And the last thing we have to mention, because I want to get your take on this, what you think.
Okay.
So obviously, Kwesi signed Sam Darnold 1 year, $10 million before the 2024 season, ended up being one of the best bargains of the year. And they had to make a decision to let him walk or roll with J.J. McCarthy, who was a 10th overall pick in the 2024 draft, who tore his meniscus, so he's an unknown. He never played. So he had to decide, and he let Darnold walk. And now Sam Darnold signs with the Seahawks and is now in the Super Bowl favored. So do you think that was the big factor why he got let go?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things here, Cheese. One, hindsight's always 20/20, right? If you're going to draft, I'm not a big fan of drafting the quarterback and letting him sit for multiple years. I know that Green Bay did that with Aaron Rodgers, and I also did that with Jordan Love. I'm not a real big fan of that because you're, in my opinion, you're wasting those years where he is really cheap, and you can build the team around him.
That's the knock on it. Sure.
Correct. By letting him sit there. So if you had that much confidence in him when you drafted him, you should show the confidence in him. I didn't have a problem with them letting Darnold go. And I don't care what anybody says, you or anybody else. No one, absolutely no one expected Sam Darnold to do this in Seattle. No one had this on their bingo card. I guarantee it.
I can't wait to talk about Sam Darnold. I rewatched that Rams-Seahawks game, and I saw so many good things he did. He was tremendous in that game. I can't wait to talk about it tomorrow. And I don't think this was the main reason. I think they used this as an excuse. I think they fired him. Like you said, I think they're trying to embarrass him, and they did it because the media will say, oh, it's because Darnold made the Super Bowl, and he let him go. He signed him in the first place. That was a good signing. But I actually agree with it because you invested a top 10 pick in a quarterback, right? And Darnold did play really bad the last 2 games. And he was a huge risk to re-sign. If they re-sign him and Darnold collapses, you could hurt J.J. McCarthy's development, and then he gets blasted for that. So, yeah, it's just a mess in Minnesota.
Well, he was darned if you do and darned if you don't in this decision, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And he had to give Darnold a 3-year deal worth $100 million. He had to at least match what Seattle gave him. And so if you do that, then he's going to be the quarterback in the next 3 years. And then McCarthy will sit for 4 years.
Yeah,
so,
no. I wouldn't have done that either.
I think what would have happened is McCarthy may have sat for a year and then maybe just asked for a trade. I think that's probably what happened. So,
and then you're not getting, as you've said before, you're not getting value for that at that point.
No, and then you have a veteran quarterback who's playing well, and you wasted a 10th overall pick on a quarterback when Brock Bowers was on the board.
Right.
So okay.
Oh, the tangled web we weave, sir.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings just handled it so bad. Okay. I have some thoughts on this. I think you know where I'm going. I want to know your thoughts. The NFL announced they're expanding international games. There will now be games in Melbourne, Australia. Yes, Australia. Rio de Janeiro, Mexico City, Munich. 3 games in London or the United Kingdom. Madrid and Paris. That's 9 total games, Mike, meaning more than half the league will play an international game. The NFL's goal is to get 16 international games a year, which means every team would play in 1 game each season. Do you think that is a good idea?
Well, let me take 30 seconds to do this real quick. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch now. We're also on X, and then you can catch us tomorrow on Apple Music and on Spotify. So I want to kind of take a backward twist to your question here.
Ooh, plot twist.
Plot twist here.
I see dead people.
Me too. So I think the fairest thing is to make everybody play a game. That's one of my big things right at the moment is that some do and some don't, and that gives some teams a fair or an unfair advantage. I'm gonna compare it to the New England Patriots season. They purposely gave them a weak schedule so that they can rebound faster, so that their fans can get back into the games and all of that. But you're making some teams, you're not having them go overseas. Some teams you are. I don't like it. I'm not sure if I want the expansion of the games, but I also think it's the most fair thing to do as far as to the teams and to the players, and honestly, even to the fans, is to make everybody play a game. So I'm a big proponent of everybody plays one, and I understand what the NFL's doing. I'm just not sure if I like it.
You mentioned the Patriots. They didn't play an international game. They're in the Super Bowl. The Seahawks did not play an international game. They're in the Super Bowl. That travel, it weighs on you.
It does.
It weighs on you. And a couple points you made. One point you made. You said every team plays a game, right? Okay, let's just say you like the Cardinals. Let's say they're playing the Chargers in Mexico City, right?
Okay.
Right. And then let's say the Rams, who are playing maybe the Broncos, let's say, rivals of both teams, and they're playing in Tokyo. That's a huge advantage for the Cardinals and Chargers. Mexico City flight, that's closer for the Cardinals than probably Seattle, you know? So that's a huge, it's where you play too. So it's not just, okay, it's fair for international travel. If you're going to Mexico City or even Rio or Sao Paulo, similar time zone, it's a huge advantage. And if you're playing Tokyo or Melbourne or going to like Munich or something like that. So I hate international games. I think there should be 0. I love that the local economy, every NFL game is like an event. I've been to NFL games. You have too. It's an event. All the local shops, restaurants, hotels, everything, just bars, they get so much money being brought in. Local small business owners. And every time you play an international game, over $1 million. And some games, I think like Super Bowl brings in like over $3 million for that city just that week. It's crazy how much money you're sending it overseas. And it's all about money. It's all to grow the game, and it's about money. And it hurts the players. It hurts the local communities. And the fans, a lot of fans go to church. They don't want to give it 9:30 in the morning or 8:30 in the morning, or you're on the West Coast, maybe 6:30 to watch the game. Yeah, you have to get up to watch European games. So I don't like it, and it's when I saw that announcement, I made a video yesterday, but I wanted to get your take on it, and I want to go over this because this bothered me too.
Okay.
The players, like I said, they grow through so much. Their bodies get hit. They're always banged up. They're injured. And now they're adding all this international travel, including a game in Australia. I think they'll probably add Tokyo as they go. Who knows where they'll add. Roger Goodell recently said he spoke to players, right? This is what he said. He said that players enjoy these games because they feel like ambassadors. Okay, so numerous players came out and blasted this, said it wasn't true. Zach Tom, the right tackle for the Packers, did like laugh emojis. Like, is he serious? Like, because we want to be ambassadors. What am a player? I want to be an ambassador to Ireland. I want to be ambassador to Munich. That's ridiculous. What do you think of this? Do you think he purposely lied, Goodell?
Well, of course he did. It's Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell looks right in the camera and lies all the time. Yes. I am actually going to announce this right now. We were talking about doing it here on the show, and we decided to cut it. I'm actually going to do a little bit of, a thing with the NFL here later on in the week, how it's kind of racially imbalanced and how the Rooney Rule goes and all of this kind of thing. I want to do something on that. We just didn't have time to do it here during this particular show, but he lied about that. I'll talk about that. It would be like Roger Goodell standing up behind a podium saying, the players love these international games because it's like a vacation to them. Come on, Roger. Any of these players can go take a vacation in that city whenever the heck they want. Most of them are millionaires. Come on. We are, number one, we're not that dumb, or at least most of us aren't. Stop lying. And the only reason you're still there is because you're making all the owners tons of money. It's not because you're a great ambassador yourself for the game of football. You're just making everybody a lot of money.
I can't believe he said that. That he's not even trying because they like being ambassadors. Can you name one player that ever talked about being a good ambassador to another country? I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, I can't name. And I'll tell you, I was a little shocked. Again, you know this. Our fans know this. Bengals guy, Arizona Cardinals guy, because where I used to live and where I live now. I saw Budda Baker talking up the Pro Bowl. And a really good video. He's there and all this. And the whole time I'm thinking, really, Budda? Really? You're talking up the Pro Bowl? Really? Come on, buddy. Stop it. We all know this is a trash game, all right. And in fact, it's not even popular enough for you and I to talk about it on this show because it's meaningless. And I don't want to say these international games are meaningless because they still count for the records and all of those kinds of things. I just want it all to be as fair as possible to the fans, the players, and the media.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl. When I was a kid, I liked it, but. No, it's completely
meaningless. But it meant something back then.
It did, but I think a lot of these players that actually go to it, it's because it's in their contract. They get a bonus if they do. Do you know that? If you make a Pro Bowl, that some teams put that in there. The Packers do not do that, but some teams put it in. If you go to the Pro Bowl, you get a bonus. So that's why they do it. But it's just crazy to me. Ambassadors, they like international games. Players hate it. They absolutely hate it. They do not want to travel. So, and plus. And I mentioned this in my video on at Football with Cheese on YouTube. Check it out, Football with Cheese, CHEZ. I mentioned that you have a bye week usually after international travel most of the time. Mm-hmm. But even so, if the jet lag, if you have hop across the pond flight, it could take 3, 4, 5 days. Your jet lag, you're back to normal, and that's your bye week. That's your week off, and your jet lag the whole bye week. Players do not like these games. Trust me. Packers did not like going to Brazil. Beginning of the 2024 season, a lot of players were complaining.
I'd love to tell you that I know what you're talking about, but I've never been international, and I don't think I'm ever going to have the money to go anywhere international. So I'm just going to have to take your word on it, sir.
I think I flew like Charlotte to Seattle, and back, and then I went San Francisco back to Charlotte, and I think but that took me at least 2 days to get back. Just going East Coast, West Coast, 4-hour flight. So
yeah, I've done that a few times because I'm from Ohio now in Arizona. Okay. Yeah, it takes you a little bit to adjust. I can. That is true. That is a true thing, especially the older that you get. So I'm thinking the older players are even worse than some of the younger players are.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Now we've also got to get to this poll question here. Let me give our fans a few seconds to go to at All Gloves Off SM and vote for that one more time here. It is The following is the question. You have a few weeks between the Super Bowl and spring training. What sport are you going to watch the most during that time? Your choices are the Olympics, NBA, hockey, and UFC/WWE. It's really, really close on the voting right now. We'll get to that here in just a moment. What are you laughing at?
A friend of mine just sent me a video. They introduced the 3 quarterbacks to the Pro Bowl for the AFC, and it's Joe Burrow, and then he looks over and sees Joe Flacco and Shadur Sanders, and he makes a face. Like, really? Like, really? That's so. It's like, where's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes? Like, what's going on here?
Well, they're both injured. They can't be there.
I know, but that's the whole point. That's just funny. He kind of looks over and he's just like, and he puts his head down. He looks over and then kind of puts his head down. It's so funny.
Oh, shoot. You'll have to put that up on your channel. We'll have to take a look at that.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, that made me laugh. Thanks for sending that, Sam. Jesus. Okay. So one last part before we get to the lights out list.
Sure. And what are we doing our lights out list on today, sir?
Okay. We're going to do the top 10 hires, the best hires. I should have communicated that better. My fault. The best hires, 1 through 10.
Okay. I've adjusted a little bit as we've talked, so
okay.
we're good.
So one last question about this, and I think this is an important one. Do you think all this travel, these international games, say every team plays 1 a year, will lead to an 18-game schedule and 2 bye weeks to give the players more rest throughout the season?
Well, if it does, then it'll actually do something positive, because I'm a huge proponent of that, especially the 2 bye weeks part. You know, 1 bye week in the first part of the season, 1 bye week in the second part of the season. And if that would make so much sense. They should do it. I'm even going to go a step further. So you should get your bye week after your international game, and then you should get your second bye week in conjunction with like that Thursday night game or something like that. So it would have every team play an international game, and it would have every team play on Thursday night.
I love that, and I played around with this. I have not made a video on it. I kind of did a mock video, when released, and it just got long and boring. But I played around with it, and I figured out a way.
Not you, sir. There is no way you could get boring, sir.
Well, it's just very detailed, and I went through every team, and I went what their schedule could be. I went through all the teams, and I'm not even a schedule maker. This is not my job. I don't do anything like that in real life, but I figured out a way to make the bye weeks fair. You know how some teams will have their bye week and the other team hasn't had them yet? They might play 3. They might have had like a week 6 bye week, and then they'll play 3 teams in a row that haven't had their bye. And that's a huge advantage. There's a way to do it with 2 byes. This is with 2 byes, 18-game schedule, where every team you play either had a bye week the same as yours or fix the Thursday so you don't always get the 3-day advantage. Because when you play Thursday, there's a way to do it. Because I did this. It took me like 45 minutes. I figured it out. So you can do it, especially with once again, 2 byes, 18 games. There's a way to do it to make it more fair. So all these teams have the same, play a team off a bye. So maybe each division, I'm not going to get too into it, but let's just do the AFC North, for example.
Okay.
You can have the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals have the same, one of the same bye weeks. One of the 2 be the exact same because non-international one, and then they all play each other the next week. You can do that. It's not difficult. It literally took me 45 minutes. I wrote it up. I did 20 weeks with 2 byes. I have it all written out. And I did a mock video. I got about 18 minutes in and realized it was so boring. I'll try to make it I'm going to try to make one in the off season, but it's not complicated.
If you would like to see Cheese do that mock video, let us know in the comments. Let us know in his comments over on his channel as well. That is Football with Cheese. You can go over, hit the like, the subscription, the bell, all of that good stuff. And then you'll never miss a video that we do.
I still have my notes.
I'm sorry?
I still have my notes. But go ahead.
Notes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you can still do the video. Are you okay if we do the poll question now before we do the lights out list, buddy?
Let's do the poll question.
Okay. So again, it's you got a few weeks between the Super Bowl and spring training. Not for us crazy people like me. I've already got you. You can't see it; it's over there. But I've already got a bunch of ball cards out, and I'm organizing everything, getting ready for autographs, and getting the different colored pins and all kinds of stuff. I'm a crazy guy when it comes to all that stuff. You're gonna have to come out here one of these times, and maybe you want to come out and watch your Cubs out here at Sloan Park. So, mini Wrigley Field, by the way, if you haven't ever seen it or looked it up or anything, it's
I would love to go to Sloan Park. I've heard about it.
Well, you have free room and board for yourself and any person that you may want to bring out with you. And we'll just
how far away are you from Sloan Park?
I'm about 45 minutes away.
Okay, so you're not in Mesa. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
But we can, like I say, we can get there. I'm going to take like 2 weeks off work, maybe a little bit longer than that, and spring training is one of my favorite times of year. You're going to see me start getting really excited on this podcast right after the Super Bowl's done. So, in fact, I'll probably be going through baseball cards, while I'm watching the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized the 3 quarterbacks are all Browns and Bengals quarterbacks.
I
All
know.
3 AFC, just those 2 teams, just Browns and Bengals,
and they still didn't make the playoffs. Yet they've got all the Pro Bowlers and quarterback.
Pro Bowl is dead. It is dead, like you said.
Still can't make the playoffs. That tells you all you need to know, right?
Yeah.
So you got some time between the Super Bowl and when spring training games start. So I asked all of our great fans out there. Almost 400 of them have looked at this poll question, and several of them have voted as well. What sports are you going to watch during that time frame? Olympics, NBA, hockey, UFC/WWE. Cheese, what would you have picked? Olympics, NBA, hockey, UFC, WWE.
I didn't know they still had a Winter Olympics. I haven't watched Winter Olympics probably since I was a teenager. But I've never watched UFC. None of the above. I'm not going to watch any of it. I will watch the NBA. I watched it 3 years ago when the Nuggets made the Western Conference Finals. They ended up winning it all. Okay. So I like the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic, I really like him. So that's if they make the Western Conference Finals and then the finals, I'll watch it, and that's it.
All right, but you're not going to watch it during this week because that's not going to happen during this break. No, I'm a pretty big UFC WWE guy. I'm probably honestly going to get more into UFC because it's now on Paramount. It's a much cheaper avenue for me to watch. One of the big deterrents for me was that it was so expensive. So I may get into it a little bit more now that it's on Paramount Plus, and I don't have to pay so much for it. So I would go UFC WWE. I'm not a hockey guy, barely an NBA guy, and I might watch the Olympics if my wife wants to. That's about the extent of it. So, but let's talk about our fans. Our fans, UFC, WWE, 14%. That was the lowest total. NBA and hockey are tied at 26% apiece, and the Olympics are leading the way at 34%. So that's what our fans have said. They've still got. Me too.
I don't know anyone that watches the Winter Olympics. I don't know a single person that watches it. I know a lot of people watch the Summer Olympics, but not the Winter Olympics.
Yeah. So there's where we are, buddy. There's where we are. Let's jump into this lights out list, and let's do it now.
I had a lot of trouble hearing you there.
Okay.
There you are.
Better?
Much better.
Okay.
Okay, so once again, I'll give you some time. I can type it up if you need some more time. Do you need some more time?
I'm good.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the top 10 hirings. Okay. So we're going to list our favorite coaches of favorite hirings from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1. We'll start with 10. 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. Obviously Mike knows this. And if you're watching, you're regular to the pod, you know that I love up and coming coordinators more than retread coaches. So just keep that in mind. Our lists, of course, are always so different. So I'm sure they will be now. So we're going to do the top 10 best hires of the 10 coaches.
All right. So we're going to start at the very bottom. Like this is the worst. Of the 10, right?
Yep. You want me to go first?
It doesn't matter to me. I've like I said, I've pretty much got everything in order the way I want it now, so we're good.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the worst of these coaching hires, and this one, Cheese and I talked about this off air. The bottom three aren't real hard. The top one or two is not real hard, but the middle is kind of where we're not real sure, right? Where we're probably going to have to see what's going to happen here over the last few years. So for me, this bottom one was really easy. He does have a track record. He did win 60.8% of his regular season games over the last 18 seasons. He does have a Super Bowl, but he does not fit with this team. This is not where they've gone in the past. And I was just blown away when the Pittsburgh Steelers hired Mike McCarthy. And so because of that, I put them as the worst one, and I put them at number 10.
Well, so far, we're exactly the same. Absolutely. I know him very well. He got out coached in most big games. He's a likable guy. People like him. He is. People respect him and like him, but he's a terrible head coach, and he's never had an elite quarterback. He's always had Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, or Dak Prescott. He has no one close to that in Pittsburgh. This could be an absolute disaster. So number 10, Mike McCarthy.
All right. So number 10 for both of us was McCarthy. I'm almost, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to say our number 9 guy will be the same too. He doesn't have any head coaching NFL experience. He was Old Miss's head coach from 2013 to 2015. That's really the only head coaching stuff he has ever had. I didn't even know this guy was up for the job.
It's real quick, Southern Miss, not Old Miss.
Oh, did I? Okay, you are right. Thank you for the correction. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
He was with the Ravens last year, and all of a sudden the Browns are like, yeah, Todd Monken's our guy. I'm not sure why, and that was a terrible hire. Number 9 for me, Todd Monken, Cleveland Browns.
This is one of those hires that the Browns had to hire someone, and they had to find someone that would take the job. He's 59 years old. It's a rebuilding team. The Browns are nowhere near winning. He's set up to failure, but he did a good job with Georgia when he was there as their offense coordinator, and the Ravens brought him in, and their offense really did thrive. I mean, yes, there's a lot of talent in that offense, but he's my number 9. He has to be. It's a strange fit for someone like Cleveland, but like 4 people pull out of the running. So that tells you all you need to know. No one wants a job yet. Number 9. We agree so far. Todd Monken.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we won't agree the entire time, but we might agree on this one too. Like I said, guys, the bottom 3 were pretty easy. The top 3 are pretty easy. It's the middle ones, and I'm really curious to see where each of us will go with those. So I have got to use your favorite word for my number 8 guy.
Okay.
Continuity.
we have the same number 8 guy.
Oh, yeah. So continuity. You've got to keep got to keep someone in place from the regime, and you've got to make sure that everything is seamless. And you've got look, ladies and gentlemen, if it was supposed to be seamless, you'd still have the same guy as your head coach too. And for some reason, the Buffalo Bills decided. I don't know why. I didn't like this. We've talked about this before. I don't know why they moved on from Sean McDermott, but they decided to. And then after that, they doubled down on dumb and promoted Joe Brady. So number 8 for me, the Buffalo Bills, Joe Brady. Go ahead, Cheese. Give us your number 8, bud.
Joe Brady. So all these teams wanted Joe Brady maybe for their offensive coordinator when McDermott was fired. I don't know anyone. I mean, he might have gotten a head coaching interview. I don't know, but it just seemed like it was just like the safe pick. And maybe Josh Allen likes him. And yeah, continuity, keep the same offense. I don't think I like that he commits to the running game, but there were so many times where he would not give Josh Allen protection. Because Josh Allen's mobile and big, we're just going to block with the front 5, and people would blitz him. The Chiefs would, and he would not leave a tight end or running back in. He was stubborn. It's like he didn't adjust, and he got out coached by Steve Spagnuolo so over and over in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's a questionable thing. I have him at 8, but yeah, Joe Brady, number 8.
All right. Hopefully we don't match the entire time. We're about to get into this part to where it should be different. We'll see if it is here. So this guy, I get why they did it. I still think he was a fallback for the guy who I'll have at number 6. But 38 years old, and he's associated with people like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay and stuff. Oh no, I can already tell by your we're gonna do it again.
We're the same.
So we did not try to do this. We did not talk about this off air, I swear.
Go ahead.
But as we pointed out earlier, I wish he would have called plays.
Yeah.
I get it that he's a new guy, he's an up-and-coming guy, but I just thought that since the Arizona Cardinals settled for Mike LaFleur, that I put him at number 7. So 7 for me, the Arizona Cardinals hiring of Mike LaFleur.
Yeah, 7 through 10 was easy for me. It's the rest of it got hard in the middle, but yeah, he has to be 7 for me. I do like a lot of the game plans. I like how the Rams get ahead early a lot of games, and he's in charge of the game plan. It's still an unknown because he only called plays for 2 years with the Jets, and the Jets weren't very good. So he's still an unknown. I don't know how great an offensive mind is because Sean McVay was the head coach, and he is a LaFleur, but doesn't mean, it doesn't mean he'll be like his brother at all. But yeah, Mike LaFleur, I would have preferred Kubiak, but yeah, he's my number 7.
All right, so I kind of gave it away when I was talking about the number 7, who my number 6 guy is going to be. The Raiders waited, and technically they haven't signed him yet because they can't. It's a technicality until the Super Bowl was over. You can't take anyone from those two teams right the moment, so they have to wait. But we're relatively certain that Clint Kubiak is going to be the new fit in L.A. I'm just not sure if he's a great fit for them.
L.A.?
Las Vegas. Yeah.
Los Angeles Raiders. There goes that Mike's showing his age there.
Yeah,
Los Angeles Raiders.
Yes, I am. I know they've got some offensive pieces, right? They got Bowers at tight end. They've got Genty as the running back. Now they'll probably have Mendoza for the quarterback unless they get absolutely wild with some huge trade and they give up that pick. So I get it. You probably want an offensive guy with those offensive pieces. But the Raiders are just such a poorly run organization. I'm not sure if even a guy like Clint Kubiak can save them. And he was the guy that I wanted in Arizona. So because of that, I put him at number 6.
Okay. More on him later. My number 6, and I'm shocked that he's 6, but I like all the top 6 hires. I like them all. I thought they were all very good hires. And so John Harbaugh is my number 6 with the Giants. I know that sounds crazy. He's won a Super Bowl with the Ravens, but there was some disconnect there. There were some players that, something wasn't right this year with the Ravens. They should have been better. They had injuries, should have been better. I don't know. He hasn't done well in the playoffs the last few years. I still think it's a good coach. I think he's respected. I think he can run the program. I just like the other 5 better. So John Harbaugh is my number 6.
I'm glad I didn't. I originally had him at 6 as well, but I ended up flipping Kubiak and him. So he's my number 5 guy. Okay. And I'll tell you why I went back and forth. You can say, and you did, you just said it, Harbaugh has not had recent success. He's had success, just not recent success. And the other problem here is the Giants are in the same boat. They've had success, but just not recent success. And why would you want to combine two things that have not done well recently? I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. And plus the money they had to pay for him and everything else. So that's why I'm putting him at number 5. I'm not sure how well this relationship is going to work. And I think if it goes bad, it's going to go bad quick. And the fan base is just going to, go crazy because they had to pay so much to get him. And there may be a big disappointment coming here, but I will tell you this: I can't wait to watch Scatterboo jump back out there in a Giants uniform.
Well, I'll say this: they underachieved this year, so it's probably going to find the first year because they're going to improve. They're going to be better. I just think it was a terrible decision hiring Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator. I don't think he's a very good coach at all. I think he just lucked into Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. I think those are the, so I'm just shocked that he hired Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator.
Right. So your rule, I mean, this is like we're going to have to make like the rule of cheese here. I believe rule number 1 is going to be don't hire a coach or coordinator that's named Matt, right?
Yes. Do not hire anyone named Matt.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. My number 5, I thought he'd be higher, but just I really like I said, the top 5 is Robert Saleh for the Tennessee Titans. Didn't go well with the Jets, but it's the Jets, poorly run. There was a power struggle with him and Aaron Rodgers. They never connected. So, it just didn't work out there. But he's such a good defensive coordinator, great defensive coach. And they could have just gone after an offensive coach because they have Cam Ward. And they could have hired Matt Nagy. Oh, my God, that would have been a nightmare. But I like the fit there. And I think he's going to do a good job. He's at 5 just because I love the top 4 guys even more.
Okay, I get it. I understand that. I'm going to go with my number 4 guy. And it's mainly not because I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure about the team he's with. We talked about Arizona not knowing what their quarterback situation is. This team doesn't know what their quarterback situation is either. They've got a problem at running back. They've got overpriced people on this roster that they're going to have to make some big-time decisions on. And because they're the overpriced people, they still may have to have huge hits against the cap, and they don't even have those players anymore. So I think poor Jeff Hafley has gone to Miami, and he's going to inherit just a mess. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to handle it. He was a defensive coordinator with the Packers. He does have some head coaching experience with Boston College, but it's a college and college and NFL are two different beasts, two different animals. And I'm not sure if it's going to be okay for him. So that's why I put Jeff Hafley and the Miami Dolphins as my number 4 coaching hire of the offseason.
More on him soon. But I'll just say this. Yeah, you make a good point, but that's not a great job. It's not. But it's still a good hire. But you're right. It's a terrible job. The roster stinks. Absolutely stinks. Yeah. But I'll talk about him in a second. My number 4 is Kevin Stefanski of the Falcons. Kevin Stefanski, I think he's a really good coach. I think he's a good offense. He's won Coach of the Year twice. He's gotten the most out of – he's never had good offensive players. He had Nick Chubb. Who else? He just never – David Njoku, he had some good tight ends this year, but he's never had Deshaun Watson was thrown on him, and he comes from the Shanahan McVay coaching tree. He was offensive coordinator in Minnesota. I think he's such a good fit in Atlanta, and I think he'll do so much better there, much better job. So number 4, Kevin Stefanski.
All right, more on him later. Okay. And by the way, Jaguar fan 44. I've told people to put stuff in the comments. I do see your comment. Let us finish the list here, and then we'll talk about your Jags here in just a moment.
Oh, good question. Those are some really good questions.
Yeah, we will get to you. I don't want you to think, oh, they're ignoring me, or we're not. We're just doing the list, and then we'll get to you here in just a second. So my number 3 guy is going to be a job that I didn't think was really an attractive job because I didn't know if they had enough. But it seems like if you've got your quarterback in place, then you can kind of fix the rest of the roster and surround it with that quarterback. So the Tennessee Titans have their quarterback. They've got him in place. They've got him cheap for the next few years. And I like Robert Saleh. I really do. I like his makeup. I like his leadership that he's shown on the sidelines when I've seen him on games. And man, I almost say he's fantastic. You're very welcome, Jags fan. I see you, buddy. And I almost want to give him kudos because he won 20 games with the New York Jets. For God's sake, I don't think anybody's done that for a long time. I know he went 20-36, but for God's sake, you won 20 games with the New York Jets. You should get some kind of trophy. So I really think Robert Saleh is going to rebound really well, and I think the Tennessee Titans are going in the right direction. So between those two, I put Robert Saleh, Tennessee Titans, number 3.
Okay. My number 3, you just talked about him, Jeff Hafley, terrific defensive coordinator for the Packers. He's just a great leader. He's a great leader. He's just, you could just tell like he commands the room, and he's just someone that I think a lot of teams wanted to hire. I feel bad for him because I don't know if he'll succeed because the roster's bad. They completely overhauled it. They have a new GM. Obviously, he's a new coach, but they're a mess. They need just about everything but running back. Just their offensive line's bad. Their defensive line's bad. Their cornerback room is the worst in the NFL, and they don't have a quarterback. It's just an absolute disaster. But it's still a great hire, and I wanted the Packers to fire Matt LaFleur and hire him. I really wanted that, and the defensive players, I'll say this, loved him. The Packer players absolutely loved him, and that says a lot.
All right, I like
Two
it.
left.
I really like it because I know we're going to differ some now because I guarantee you your number one, my number one is going to be different.
Well, no, there's one player. We both have not said one person.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
you
getting
said
ready
one.
to do him right now.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So my number two is going to be Jesse Minter and the Baltimore Ravens. Here's the thing, right? A lot of people are saying, okay, McDonald went from the Ravens, now he's with the Seahawks, and look what he's done. And I've seen a lot of stuff online, especially from Ravens fans that are saying, you know what, Jesse Minter can be the next Mike McDonald. He can come in here and he can turn our stuff around and everything else. Baltimore has always kind of been known for their defense. He's 42 years old. He was an assistant for the past few seasons. Did a fantastic job at Los Angeles. I almost said Las Vegas, and I'm confusing everything here. But
San Diego Chargers, yes, Superchargers,
powder blue. Anyway, so I don't think there's any risk here. I think this is all reward. You've got a good quarterback. You've got a pretty good, got one good receiver. Your defense is not what it used to be, but you brought in a guy who his specialty is supposed to be defense. So, you're molding this team together, and you went out and got a coach that I think you believe at least is going to help your team. And that's all as a fan I could ask for if I was a Ravens fan. Okay, I know what's wrong with our team, and you went out and got a coach that hopefully is able to fix it. So because of those two things kind of molding together, it's like peanut butter and jelly, Cheese. We're going to do Jesse Minter with the Baltimore Ravens as my number two best coaching hire of the offseason.
My number two as well is Jesse Minter. I've looked at, he came over from Michigan with Jim Harbaugh. I've looked at the Chargers defense the last 2 years. It is probably league average talent as far as just overall talent on the defense, probably below average, to be honest with you. And it seems like top 5 defenses back-to-back years. It's incredible what he does. He makes good adjustments. He gets the most out of his players. There are games where they don't even get good pass rush, and they're still playing good defense. So he's done a tremendous job. It was time. It was time for him to get head coaching. And as soon as Harbaugh moved on, that was the guy I thought. I was like, that's who the Ravens are going to hire. It seems like a great fit. The Ravens defense has completely collapsed last couple of years, and so they need someone to turn that around. Yeah, number two. Jesse Minter.
Yeah, I agree with you as far as the fit goes. I was Jesse Minter. He was like, okay, I thought about Jesse Minter with the Ravens, and to be honest, I think both of us said it. I was going Shaw with the Steelers, and that's why my McDonald was number 10. No, I'm sorry, Shula. Yes. Boy, I'm just man.
And I thought Kubiak Cardinals would have been a great fit, but he didn't choose it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, since these things didn't work out quite like we kind of thought they would, that's why this list is so interesting. Where do we think these teams are going to go now that they've made their decisions? So number one for me, I like this team, and you almost have to put this guy at number one because he's been beat on so much in Cleveland, and he got 2 NFL Coach of the Year awards. So hopefully he can take that
for maybe the worst run organization.
Right. I mean, kind of like Robert Saleh deserves a trophy for what he did in New York. I mean, Kevin Stefanski should get a trophy, a ribbon, probably a car, maybe a private jet. I mean, what he did in Cleveland is amazing. He took that team to the playoffs. Yes, he took that team to the playoffs. And I love what they're doing in Atlanta. Probably, I'm going to say it. We'll probably do some of these things later on in the show. best running back in football. They're in Atlanta. They've got a Michael Penix Jr. thing where they got to figure out what they're doing there. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? But at
he's
least
he's got to get healthy. He's got to get healthy too. Yeah.
Correct. So, for God's sake, he doesn't have Shedeur Sanders anymore. So he's got to be doing cartwheels down there in Atlanta. So
yeah.
I really think this is going to work, and that's the reason why I put it at number one. I think of any of these teams and their coaches, I think this one has the highest percentage to be a win-win for both the coach and the team. So Kevin Stefanski, Atlanta Falcons, number one for me on the lights out list.
I had him as the highest reach. I had him 4, but I had him as the highest retread coach. But you know me, I love up-and-coming coordinators. My top 3 are. You mentioned him. I think you had him 6, but I absolutely love Klint Kubiak. I love his play design. I love his play calling. In that game against the Rams, I'm watching these plays. I rewatch a couple of these plays. It's like, it's perfect. Like you cannot get Jackson Smith-Njigba open that easily, but he did. He did. He set up the defense. He did stuff earlier in the game. He set up the defense for later on. There's a touchdown pass where he's wide open, and he used the other guys as decoys to set up your best playmaker. And the Rams had 3 guys on that side to cover Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And he still got open. 3 guys to cover 2 guys. The play design is just tremendous. What he's done, even New Orleans with that offense with Derek Carr, but what he's done with Sam Darnold in that offense is just tremendous. I think Klint Kubiak is just a slam dunk hire for the Raiders. It is the Raiders. They have bad ownership. We'll see what happens, but they do have Fernando Mendoza, the first pick. And I'll say this, Mendoza is such a perfect fit for Klint Kubiak offense. And
that'll be interesting. We'll have to talk about that some more. But I will say that I think Kubiak is the best game planner.
He called a brilliant game. And just there's some plays, it's incredible just how he confused the Rams defense. He outcoached Chris Shula in that game for sure.
All right, so let me give you 10-1. I'm sorry, you're going to hear some papers ruffle in the background. I usually don't like to do that, but you are here. You're gonna hear some stuff as I figure out where I'm going with all of this. So 10 for me was McCarthy, and then I went with Todd Monken, then Joe Brady, Mike LaFleur, Klint Kubiak at number 6 for me. 5 was John Harbaugh. 4 was Jeff Hatley. 3 was the Tennessee Titans and Robert Saleh. 2 was Jesse Minter with the Ravens. And my number 1 was the Atlanta Falcons and Kevin Stefanski. Cheese, go over your top 10, and then we'll talk about what Jaguars fan 44 has to say here.
Yep, we had the same 10 through 7. But, yeah, Mike McCarthy, Steelers, number 10. Terrible hire. Number 9, Todd Monken, Browns. Number 8, Joe Brady, Bills. Number 7, Mike LaFleur, Cardinals. 6, John Harbaugh, Giants. 5, Robert Saleh, Titans. 4, Kevin Stefanski, Falcons. 3, Jeff Hafley, Dolphins. 2, Jesse Minter, Ravens. And 1, Klint Kubiak, I just talked about, Raiders. Great hire.
All right, so we got a couple questions from Jaguars fan 44. We love you guys putting questions up here. We will do our best to get to them here. So here we go. Would you re-sign ETN if you were the Jags? Cheese, I'll let you go first because my answer is probably going to be a little complicated.
You know what? I'm going to let him hit free agency. And he had a tremendous year. Liam Cohen did such a good job. I think he helped ETN more than any player on that offense because he just put him in such good situations. But the cap situation isn't great. There's not a lot they can do to really – I mean, they could push some future contracts like Trevor Lawrence into future years or hurt them. But I just pay a running back. I don't love paying running backs. It's been a devalued position. So I just – which ATN you're getting? Which year are you getting? So I would probably let him walk and draft – God, it's such a weak running back class. Maybe I'm changing my mind. It depends. If you can get him for $12 million a year or less, maybe I would do it. But he might command more than that. What do you think?
Okay, so before I do that, Jaguar Fan 44, you gave us 3 questions. The last one I want to get a little clarity on, so I'll give you a second to type in something into the comments here. It says, do you know any defensive end or outside linebacker free agents this offseason? Of course we know who they are, but I'm banking you're wanting to mold
Edge
it more
rusher.
towards the Jaguar.
Is it an edge rusher? Are you looking for like someone who's an edge? Because they run a 4-3. That's Anthony Campanilla's defense. They run a 4-3 base. Well, most teams are nickel 80% of the time, but I'm thinking he's thinking about edge rusher.
Okay, so give us a little clarity there, Jaguars Fan 44, and we'll answer your second question and your first question while you do that. So as far as would I sign ETN, if I have the ability, if Jordan Love falls to me in the draft, I'm taking him and I'm letting ETN walk. If I can't get a
Jeremiah Love.
Yeah. Or Jeremiah Love, yes. Yeah,
there's no chance he falls that far. And look,
I thought you were going to say there's no chance that Jordan Love falls that far because he's not in the draft.
Jaguars don't have a first-round pick. He's not falling to the late second round. They don't have a first-round pick. They traded up for Travis Hunter, so they have no chance at him.
Okay, so if I can get a good running back, I guess, and there's not too many of them, then I would probably let him walk. If not, I feel like you almost have to re-sign him. The second question, would you trade BTJ? First of all, Cheese, who is BTJ, and would you trade him?
Brian Thomas Jr. is the first-round pick in the 2024 draft. He was a mild surprise. I thought he might go early second round. They took him, I believe, 23rd overall. And he was tremendous his rookie year. He was terrific. And he took a step back. It looked like he got frustrated with Trevor Lawrence putting him in harm's way. Trevor Lawrence has always done that. He tries to fit it in tight windows. And I think BTJ got really tired of getting hit. And it looked like some games he kind of checked out. But his talent is immense. You cannot get value for him. No one's going to offer you, coming off a down year, a first-round pick. That's the only way you could take it. You just have to find a way to motivate him. You have to find him get on the same page as Trevor Lawrence because he is such a talent. And with Travis Hunter coming back, they have such an incredible receiving room. So with his talent, you can't get value for him. You have to roll with him and hope he improves. But yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., what a talent. It's a shame that he took such a step back. Can you imagine if he played like he did his rookie year? Maybe they're still playing.
Yeah, so this is everything that we can see. I know you guys can't see it. I just realized that I was reading off the side of the board and I didn't share it with the rest of you, so I apologize. But there's Jaguar Fan 44's initial question. And then he came back with this. As we were talking about it, he asked, just edge rushers after Hines, Allens, and Walker, we struggle. Hopefully we can get ETN for less than $12 million. So I don't know about that. I don't think you're going to get ETN for less than $12 million. Cheese, you think that?
Probably not. Coming off a good year, someone will probably pay more than that. But if you can, makes sense. Real quick, I'll just say this. There's a running back I really like in the mid-rounds. Mike Washington Jr., Arkansas. I think he'd be a great fit in Liam Cohen's offense. So, Jaguars Fan 44, you want to go back and watch some Arkansas games. Mike Washington Jr., maybe third or fourth round could be available, and I think he'd be a great fit in that offense.
I love these little nuggets that you do, again, because now you're going to make me watch this and see where he goes in the draft and all of that. We've talked about this since you and I have partnered up on the Lights Out Sports podcast. You've made me look at football a little differently, and I love some of the things that you've done, and I've not done a darn thing for you, and that's okay. So
you've done a lot, Mike. You've done a lot. He asked if any edge rusher free agents. Okay, well, let's talk about the edge rusher first before we talk about Devin Lloyd.
Okay,
because I'm more prepared for that one. So obviously, Jaguars Fan 44 thinks that Trayvon Walker was a mistake. They could have had Aiden Hutchinson. He was a first overall pick. He doesn't see him as the long-term answer at edge rusher. So Josh Hines-Allen is tremendous. He's probably the most underrated edge rusher in the NFL. I think he's top 10. If I did a list of top 10 edge rushers, I would have Josh Hines-Allen in my top 10. So what he wants, he's so disruptive. He really is. he asked I guess it was I'm trying to remember who they played now, but there was a game this year. Did they play the Patriots? Did he destroy the Patriots? I can't remember, but I think he did. But
now, this is kind of like this is almost like the 5 Flaming 5 and 5. We just ended up doing it at the end of the show, and Jaguars fan 44 was the guy bringing the question. So.
Well, I'll say this: there's one edge rusher that's elite, and it's a terrible class after that, Trey Hendrickson, and I don't think they have the cap room to get Trey Hendrickson, but that would be an unbelievable fit. If you have Josh Hines-Allen and Trey Hendrickson, you would have 2 of the best 10 pass rushers in the NFL. If somehow you can figure out a way to sign him, that would be incredible. After Trey Hendrickson, it's one of the worst group of free agent edge rushers I have ever seen. Like Joey Bosa might be the next best one. I mean, just like he's so old. And so it's pretty much Trey Hendrickson or bust as far as edge rusher free agents. Otherwise, you need to focus on the draft. And so
that's going to make, but now just as we're doing this for a second, that's going to make those guys out of Miami that much more valuable in the draft then, right?
Oh,
if
yeah.
the edge rusher is so bad.
All of them. All
the
the
guys
edge
from
rushers.
Texas Tech, right?
All the edge rushers. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Edge rushers and offensive tackles get overdrafted every year. They do, because everyone needs them, and they're such important positions. Yeah, Devin Floyd, he had a tremendous year. Off-ball linebackers, it's just not a premium position. Someone will pay him more than what the Jaguars will pay him. So I think he is going to walk. But what a year he had! He was terrific, and it has not been talked about enough.
Geez, we've done something that we haven't done for a while. We're going to have this thing end in under 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I don't believe you.
Well, we're going to get it. I swear we're going to. My wife is going to be so happy. I'm actually going to get to see her for a few minutes. So, yes. All right, guys. Hey, we appreciate you guys very much. Big focus on baseball this time and Super Bowl, but, not near as much as we're going to focus on it tomorrow. We're going to do a Super Bowl thing tomorrow. Cheese, before we talk about that, what are you looking at doing the rest of the week as far as on your channel? Tell us what that channel is and what you're looking at, buddy.
Yeah, it's Football with Cheese, and Cheese is Cheez. What I'm got planned for this week, I'm not 100% sure. I want to do a video on the best player at every position, and I want to do a video of the most underrated player at every position. I will have time at some point with Super Bowl going on, so hopefully I get at least one of those done this week. But anything – cheers. Anything crazy happens, coaching, anything, I will do videos on. And I will say this. Jaguars, I got a quick mock draft for you. No first-round pick. Second-round pick, they're going to take Jake Gaudet, Cincinnati, to take the place of Devin Lloyd, and Mike Washington Jr., running back Arkansas, take place of ATN. So, yes. Jake Gaudet, I hope I said his name right. What a season he had for Cincinnati. He'd be a great second-round pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, fantastic. Jaguars fan 44. Make sure you take some notes. And then when Cheese is right, make sure you come back on the Lights Out Sports podcast and let him know, because, he needs more people to stroke his ego. Okay. So
I don't think I do, but go ahead.
Well, that was sarcasm, sir. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, we appreciate you being here with us live. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. We're on Facebook. On my personal account, you can see the name right there underneath of me, and you can look it up on Facebook that way. If you like it, you can go to Cheese's YouTube. You can go to Cheese's YouTube.
It's hard to
then
say.
you can go to our YouTube, All Gloves Off Sports Media. You can go to the Twitch now that we have. We're on X at All Gloves Off SM. We are everywhere, and it's because of all of you. Cheese, about 30 seconds left. You got anything?
No, I have some chicken that I'm going to heat up, so I can't wait to eat it as soon as we're done.
All right, fantastic. I will do the same, just not with chicken. But hey, guys, Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and we're growing because of you. So as we always say, when we end this thing out, The only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining.